a high, deep drive into left field, and this ball is long gone. Safe, he got under the tag.
One hop the wall and it lands for a double.
Want to ride into deep left field, and this ball is gone. Falmouth is going to the Western Division Final. It's Game 2 of the Western Division Final. Welcome to the pregame show. David Korzanowski next to my broadcast partner, Danny LaRose. Danny, this team had a day off yesterday, unexpected, and coming off of Game 1 where they dropped first game to Cotuit.
Yeah, haven't had a day off in about 2 weeks, if not a little bit more. And last time they had a day off, they came roaring out. It was in the middle of that 11-game win streak. They were just fine. So hopefully this team for the Commodores can put it together after the day off, that day of rest, recuperate, and get those bats back alive, really play some solid baseball. Because Game 1 was one to forget. Completely put that out of your system.
Yeah.
5-0 loss at the hands of the Kettleers. They started Trey Holland, who was throwing only about 83 miles an hour, but his off-speed stuff was keeping these hitters off balance the entire game. This team could really not even buy a hit. They were barely getting runners in scoring position. Just all around offensively was not a good game for the Commodores. But again, maybe that day off can help them recuperate, get those bats hot again.
Some positives were that they only allowed 5 runs against a Cotuit team who had just singles. No extra base hits for the Kettleers in Game 1. Commodores were blanked with just 6 hits and 1 error. Someone that Katie Flory was talking to before this game is pitching coach Mike Landry about managing this pitching staff, the bullpen, and the starting rotation. Katie. Great. Thank you so much, Katie and Coach Landry. You heard him talk a little bit about preserving that bullpen and this starting rotation. I want to look at the starting matchup. Chris Gonzalez for the Commodores and Jackson Wolf for the Kettleers.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup because neither of these, or at least in Gonzalez's case, he's not the ace for this team, and it's an elimination game. So it's really big stuff for Gonzalez. He's got a big weight on his shoulders, and it's a great hitting team with the Kettleers. But keep in mind, a couple weeks ago, Chris's probably best start of the summer was against a YD team that led the Cape in average, was a red-hot team, and he held that game scoreless throughout about the first 5-6 innings of the game. Doors ended up dropping it, but it was not because of Gonzalez. So if he can put one start like that together here, that would be huge for the Commodores. As for Wolf on the other side of things, he's been really sharp all summer long, has not allowed less than 2 runs at all this season until his last outing. Game number 1 against the Wareham Gatemen, couldn't even get out of the first inning. He went 2/3 of an inning, allowed 6 earned runs. If the Doors can do something like that, I think that is huge for this team, just attack early.
So that key to the game, Danny, you say it's attack early?
Yeah, got to pounce early. You saw it against Bourne in game number 3 where they just put on 4 runs in the first couple of innings, and from then on it was smooth sailing. You saw Cotuit do it against Wareham in game 2 when they won 22-2. They just poured it on early and did not stop. Get the Kettleers feeling like they're out of this game and push them to a game 3, and you never know what can happen when you're back at home.
No doubt about it. Something in the Cape League playoffs, especially in a 3-game series, you get down early, it is pretty darn tough to come back. So the Commodores hoping to get on the board first and force this thing to game 3 back in Falmouth. We'll have first pitch coming up at 4 p.m. Chris Gonzalez on the bump for the Commodores. For David Korzanowski, for Danny LaRose, I'm David Korzanowski. We'll see you soon.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
It's do or die for the Falmouth Commodores. They've been here before. It was Game 3 of the Western Division semifinal versus the Bourne Braves, and the Doors won 8-2. But now they face a more daunting foe and even more pressure. It's Game 2 of the Western Division final, and Falmouth needs 2 straight wins to keep their championship hopes alive. Welcome to this presentation of Falmouth Commodores Baseball on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. I'm David Korzanowski, joined alongside my broadcast partner, Danny LaRose. And Danny, the Doors' backs are against the wall, and they got to win today to keep their season alive.
Yeah, Commodores fans are familiar with it. Last year in the Western Division Final, the Doors dropped Game 1 to the Wareham Gatemen, and they dropped Game 2 in convincing fashion to the Gatemen. Game 1, they lost only by 1 run. Game 2, they were dominated. So trying to bounce back from that. Couple guys from last year's team, Austin Langworthy comes to mind, who's on this year's team. Remember that. Jeff Trundy, Coach Mike Landry, of course, remember that as well. And the Commodores, yeah, I mean, you know what? Everybody's got to win 4 games when you're in the final to make it, to win the whole thing. So you made it to the Western Division Final. Cotuit's won 1. They only have 3 left. The Doors still have 4 more to go. But that doesn't mean that Cotuit's got everything in their hands. The fate of the Commodores is in their own hands. They just got to play well, play hard, continue to play loose. And I think they can pull out a victory against anybody if they do that.
Starting on the mound for the Cotuit Kettleers, firing his final warm-up pitches is Jackson Wolf, the tall lefty from West Virginia.
Jackson Wolf, definitely a tall lefty. 6'7", very lanky, 200 pounds for the Mountaineer. And on the summer, he was pretty solid, an 0-1 record with a 3.03 ERA. That was in 6 games started, 7 appearances. Struck out 27 over 26 and 2/3 innings of work, only walked 11, so pretty solid stuff from him. However, his one and only outing of the postseason against Wareham in Game 1 out at Spillane Field of the Western Division semifinal was brutal. He did not get out of the first inning, allowed 6 earned runs on 4 hits, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout, only faced 9 batters before Mike Roberts said he'd seen enough of it. Cotuit ended up coming back, tying the game 6-6. Wareham would end up winning Game 1, but Wolf definitely not characteristic of his performance all summer.
According to the Cotuit staff, Wolf was battling some back spasms in that game on August 2nd, but he tried to play through it. He got slapped around quite a bit by the Wareham Gatemen, but ever since, the Cotuit pitching staff has been lights out. They gave up only 2 runs in Game 2, 1 run in Game 3, and shut out the Commodores in Game 1 of the Western Division Final. Wolf, the big lefty, delivers a strike right down the middle to Hayden Cantrell. Here's the lineup for the Commodores. Hayden Cantrell leading things off, playing second. Blake Dunn and Zach DeLoach follow him. Second pitch, left side of the infield, and past Oviedo. It's a base hit for the Commodores on the second pitch of the game. Hayden Cantrell is aboard.
Well, I said it in the pregame that the key for the Commodores was to get on Wolf early and pour it on. Get him thinking like it's Game 1 against Wareham. Try to knock him out. Just really put yourselves in the driver's seat. And a leadoff single will do that. Hayden Cantrell continues to be red hot. He was only 1 for his last 9 after having a 5-game hitting streak snapped in Game 1, but he's back in the swing of things.
Cleanup man is Trey Cruz. Jackson Coots follows him at the 5 spot, playing first base. Troy Claunch is catching today, batting 6th. Austin Langworthy at the DH in the 7 spot. Stephen Moretto and Austin Maisel. Moretto playing third, Maisel playing left. They round out the order. Blake Dunn at the plate now after a pickoff move from Wolf over to first base. He's pitching from the stretch now with those bright yellow cleats. Dunn shows bunt, pulls back. Did he keep it around? No, he pulled it back. The umpires behind home plate is Rudy Fernbach down at first base, making the call that Blake Dunn did not hold that bunt out for a strike is Tyler Bullock. Jeff Merzel is at second, and Tom Ryberg at third. 4-man crew because it is the playoffs. Cotuit 1 win away from the CCBL championship. Falmouth is 2 away. Ball 2 misses high and away. Defense for the Kettleers. Parker Shavers out in left. Dante Williams in center. Araj Anu in right. Casey Schmidt over at third. Adam Oviedo at short. The MVP, Nick Gonzalez, playing second, and Matt Mervis from Duke is at first. Mervis fields that pickoff move from Wolf. And behind the plate is Cody Pasek, the Cotuit native, who is the battery mate of Jackson Wolf. 2-0 the count to Dunn. Wolf delivers, swing and a miss, strike one, 88 miles an hour on the gun.
Juicy pitch, 88, belt high. Not quite right down the middle, but definitely caught the outer half significantly. I'm sure Dunn wishes he had that one back, was just a touch late.
Falmouth in the regular season, a batting average of .220 versus lefties. Kettleers and Bourne Braves managers and coaching staffs have read those numbers. This is now the 5th straight lefty to start against Falmouth in the postseason. The 2-1. Check swing. Didn't go around. It's high and away, 3-1.
And don't think for a second the Doors haven't taken notice of the opposing managers throwing out lefties consistently. Yep. All the lefties were saying that they've seen it. Austin Maisel in particular was kind of annoyed by it a little bit, but he said, hey, it's just another day, and you just kind of have the same approach with slight adjustments.
Wolf, 11 walks in the regular season, in danger of one here. Swing and a miss, strike two. It was a high fastball that Blake Dunn went after, and a full count.
Yeah, another juicy pitch similar to his first strike that Dunn swung right through. That went a little bit higher, but Blake loves those pitches up around the letters, and he's deposited a few of them over the wall.
Wind is blowing out to center field here at Lowell Park. Pickoff move over to first. Hayden Cantrell was not running. Slid back in safely in plenty of time. Doors were menaces on the base paths in the regular season. Most stolen bases of any Cape League team. Ball 4 misses outside, and the first 2 base runners are aboard with nobody out.
Huge start for Falmouth and good stuff for Blake Dunn. He was the guy who led the team in walks during the season. However, in the playoffs, only 1 walk in his last 3 games played. Was hitting a lot more, but wasn't reaching base as much as he has seen in the past. But that's a really good start for him, and Cantrell right in front of him. You've got plenty of speed on the base paths as well.
Here is Zach DeLoach, batting champion of the Cape League here in 2019 with a .353 batting average in the regular season. He's hitting .500 in the playoffs through the first 4 games. Swings at the first pitch, fouls it back, and out of play.
Yeah, he's batting .500 over his last 6 games as well. So those final 2 games of the season that DeLoach played in, a couple of games that the Doors kind of were taking a little bit lax because they had already knew their fate. DeLoach was still red hot. He's 12 for his last 24 at-bats.
0-1 the count to the big left-hander from Texas A&M. Lefty-lefty matchup, the first of the game. Breaking ball, too far outside, and it's 1-1.
That's been the huge thing that DeLoach has been able to find success with, is hitting against lefties. All these other guys, a little bit falters here and there, but DeLoach has the same approach. He's staying inside the baseball, and he's not trying to do too much against left-handers. You would think that they would have his number.
DeLoach, a .297 average against lefties. Swings, and it's up the middle, into center field for a base hit. Brett Becker holds up Cantrell at third, and the bases are loaded for Trey Cruz. Nobody out here in the top of the first.
And there it is again. Zach DeLoach continues to rake against whoever they throw at him. Righty, lefty, softballer, fastballer, anything you throw at DeLoach, he continues to slap him around. As that one was an inside pitch, turns on it real quick, had the hips going as well, generated a ton of momentum in his swing, and lined it up perfectly as he's able to hit it right back through the box.
Nobody out here in the top of the first inning. Already 2 hits for the Doors and a walk from Jackson Wolf means the bases are loaded for Trey Cruz. .214 average in the postseason with 1 home run and 3 RBIs. That was in Game 3 against Bourne. Wolf looks into Pasek and delivers. Off speed, absolutely rifled foul down the left field line.
Yeah, he was so far out ahead of that. Wolf threw it about 15 miles per hour slower than his fastball. Cruz able to make contact, but again, yanked it so hard, but he's still got a solid swing up.
And with that, Mike Roberts shifts his outfield to the left. Here's a fly ball back and foul. 0-2, quickly the count to Trey Cruz.
Yeah, you just do not want a strikeout right here. Even a ground ball, they're going to go home with it. They're going to get the runner at the plate, but Trey has enough speed where he might be able to beat it out, but a strikeout is no bueno.
Infield is playing in on the grass, the 0-2. Pop fly on the infield. Trey Cruz slams the bat down. Oviedo's there, Mervis is there, and he makes the catch behind the mound. Out number 1.
Well, that's just as good as a strikeout if you're Jackson Wolf. He gets Trey Cruz on only 3 pitches, and nobody can advance a base. Now you've got 1 out. Coots at the dish does not hit a lot of ground balls, but Cotuit might still shift their middle infield a little bit back just in case they can get a double play.
So now bases loaded and 1 out. Jackson Coots from URI at the plate. He has done fantastic in the playoffs with a .438 batting average this postseason, .293 hitter in the regular season. Infield still playing in. First pitch outside and a nice block by Pasek to keep Cantrell at third base. 1-0.
Cantrell might have been able to take home. Obviously, hindsight 2020. It looked like initially Pasek was able to keep it on the dirt right around home plate. Ball trickled a long ways up towards the Cotuit dugout, but it was too late for Cantrell to make a move.
Cantrell on third, Dunn on second, DeLoach on first. Trey Cruz just popped out on the infield. Here's Jackson Coots. Swings, fouls it back. 1-1.
What a response by Wolf. He's now fired a ton of strikes after he was leaving some pitches over the middle of the zone, walked a batter, and now he's really given his best stuff to these hitters.
16 pitches so far in this half inning for Wolf. He couldn't get out of the first in game 1 of the playoffs against Wareham. Third pitch, outside. 2-1.
Long at bat from Jackson. That's rare to see from him. He's a guy who usually jumps on the first pitch he sees.
Stakes are heightened with the bases loaded, 1 out in an elimination game. The 2-1. Swung on, down the third base line, but foul. 88-mile-an-hour fastball from Wolf, who's now 1 strike away from his second out, and that would be huge.
He's got such a lanky, over-the-top delivery that, especially to lefties, I'm sure Jackson thought it was breaking ball, and then it comes in real quick on your hands.
Here's the 2-2. Just outside, ball 3. Some of the fans here at Lowell Park didn't like it. It was a close pitch, and now the second full count for Wolf.
Good call by Rudy Firmbach. Definitely outside. Good frame by Cody Pasek to make it look close. But it was a couple of inches off the outside corner.
Payoff pitch, the lefty from West Virginia against the lefty from URI. Foul ball, back into the screen, 3-2. That one coming in at 90 on the gun.
Again, it's just a lot of strikes from Wolf right now, which is making Jackson's life a little bit harder after he saw a ton of guys get real good pitches early on.
Wolf had a .517 ERA at West Virginia last year. The 3-2, outside, ball 4. And that is how the first run of the game scores. 1-0 Falmouth.
Well, how anticlimactic, but the Commodores will take it. Jackson Coots working a really lengthy at-bat. Looked like it was going to be the matchup of the century. Either going to be a hit, a strikeout. Things are getting really intense. All of a sudden, he watches a pitch sail too far outside. He's got another RBI. Now his RBI is in 8 of his last 10 games played, and this time didn't even put a swing on it. And this is a guy who never walked during the regular season. Only 5 walks through all the games he played during the regular season, and he's got probably the biggest walk of his summer right now.
Troy Claunch at the plate, 167 batting average in the playoffs. He hit .226 in the regular season with 1 home run and 8 RBIs. Wolf delivers from the stretch. It's rifled into right field for a base hit. Coming home is Blake Dunn. DeLoach will stop at third. It's 2-0 Doors.
Merry-go-round is in motion, and Mike Roberts, who has the infield all the way in with the bases loaded only in the first inning, might have gotten burned by it a little bit. That one looked like it split the 4-3 gap pretty well, but you never know if Gonzalez is playing back on the outfield grass like he normally would. Might be able to get that, although now that I think about it, he probably would have been playing in the middle of the diamond for double play depth and wouldn't have been able to get to it anyway.
It's going to bring an early visit from Mike Roberts. Infield comes in to talk to Wolf, who has allowed 2 earned runs on 3 hits and 2 walks. Doors feasting on the left-hander right now in a win-or-go home game 2. We're here at Lowell Park. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. 4:12 is the time because no lights here at Cotuit, and that's going to be an early call to the bullpen.
Yeah, Mike Roberts isn't playing any games. After he saw Jackson Wolf's outing at Wareham, he's deciding that we can't get ourselves in too deep of a hole. So looks like he's going to the pen, as you said, or at least buying enough time to get him warmed up.
Made the flash to the bullpen. Rudy Firmbach takes off the mask and now strolls out to the mound.
Come on, you made the flash. You got to come from the bullpen.
Making a second flash, perhaps a little bit of miscommunication between the manager and his relievers. Still have yet to see someone trot out for Cotuit.
If so, that's a pull after Wolf only threw 22 pitches. So Mike Roberts definitely pulling out all the stops to win this ball game.
It will be a reliever, and we will step aside briefly. 2-0 Falmouth. Bases still loaded, and only one out here on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. We'll be back right after this.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape. For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. Jackson Wolf can't get out of the first inning against Wareham, can't get out of the first inning against Falmouth. One down here in the top of the first, bases still loaded, and Mike Roberts goes to Christopher Holcomb from Tulane.
Yeah, Holcomb from Tulane, previously State College of Florida, his freshman year Alabama, so he's been all over the place. But he's coming off of a 2019 spring at SCF where he had a 2.08 ERA over 43 and a third innings pitched with 46 strikeouts, and he was just as good this summer. A 1-2 record, but a 2.50 ERA in his 10 appearances. 18 innings of work. He struck out 14, walked 11. Did have a high hit count, 21 hits in those 18 innings. And in his last 2 appearances, he's let up about a hit per inning pace.
Pitched 4 innings in relief in Game 1 of the Western Division semifinal against Wareham. Big breaking ball at 71 miles an hour. Drops on the inside part of the plate to Austin Langworthy, who's designated hitting tonight for Falmouth.
And that's exactly why they went to Holcomb, because he's another lefty, and he's one of those soft tossers like Holland was, who was able to shut down the doors.
The 1-0. Sharp breaking ball. Looked like a slider that dropped outside to Langworthy, who is hitting 167 in the playoffs so far with a double and a couple walks. Hit 197 in the regular season with 2 doubles. The 1-1. Swung on and missed. There's that sharp breaking ball. 1-2.
Yeah, don't expect anything faster than maybe 83 miles an hour from Holcomb. I would say all game, because it was the game plan against the Commodores in Game 1. They could only get 6 hits and no runs, and again, they look off balanced.
The 1-2. Inside, 2-2. DeLoach is on third. He singled. Jackson Coots is on second. He walked in the first run. And Troy Clunch is on first after his RBI single on the first pitch of the at-bat against Wolf. After that, Roberts went to the pen. It's 2-2 now with Langworthy at the plate. Outside, again, a nice block by Pasek, and another full count for Cotuit pitching.
Seems like the catchers in both these series against the Doors, Bourne and Cotuit with Pasek, have been blocking everything behind the plate and haven't given these runners that third and inch to try to swipe a bag.
Holcomb looks back to second and delivers. Ground ball, soft on the infield. Gonzalez will go over to first. It'll score a run, 3-0. But now 2 down for the Doors.
You know, I was just thinking to myself, when you've got bases loaded and nobody out, you can't only settle for 1 run. The Doors got 2, and I was still thinking to myself, don't want to settle for 2, because like I said, you want to pour it on early, and when you've got those bases loaded and nobody out, might as well score all 3 of them. Well, they've got 3 runs right here, and they could still do some more damage with 2 runners in scoring position. Less room to work with 2 outs, but just got to find some outfield grass, and you should be able to score 2.
Steven Moretto will try to knock in Coots, Clunch, or both. First pitch, just outside. 1-0. Moretto, 154 hitter in the playoffs with a home run and 4 RBIs. He also had a 3-run home run in Game 3 against Bourne, as well as a sac fly. Swing and a high fly ball down the right field line. Long run for Anu. It's going to be drifting foul, but he makes the catch. Araj Anu with a big third out, and the Doors leave 2 stranded. 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. Falmouth in the driver's seat after the top of the first. 3-0 Doors on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
3-0 lead for the Doors after the top of the first inning. On the mound, who was tabbed to get the start yesterday and got pushed back one more day, is Chris Gonzalez, a 5.60 ERA. And Danny, he's been pretty solid for the Doors at that starting spot.
Yeah, and he really wanted to pitch yesterday. We were coming back to the field after driving all the way here to Lowell Park, went back in towards our booth, and we saw Chris working out with his bands and everything out on the grass, and he said, I did not want to have a day off today. I wanted to go. So he's all revved up and ready to pitch. That 5.60 ERA may not look all that pretty, but a couple of great starts for him jump out. July 14th against a YD team that was hitting the cover off the baseball all summer long. He threw 6 innings of work, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits, both those runs coming in his final inning. Only walked 1 and struck out 2. Against Orleans right after that, did not allow a run in 6 innings of work and only allowed 5 hits. His last couple of outings, he's been tagged a little bit more, and his last one was against these Cotuit Kettleers. So July 31st in Game 2, they got to see Gonzalez for the first time and only time all summer. He couldn't get past 3 innings, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, only walked 1. Those walk numbers always low, but he's a guy who very much pitches to contact, allowing 42 hits over 35 1/3 innings of work this summer.
Gonzalez was a workhorse this summer, tied for first in the Cape League in starts with 8. He was also top 4 in innings pitched with 35 1/3 innings of work. In order to qualify for the league lead in ERA, you need a 35 innings minimum. So he technically, by the Cape League standards, 4th in the league in ERA at 5.6. First pitch swinging is Nick Gonzalez. It's over Trey Cruz's glove into left field. Our starting off the day with a base hit is Nick Gonzalez. He's aboard with nobody out.
And that was a 13-game hitting streak all the way from the regular season into the postseason. And with Gonzalez, he always is swinging first pitch. So just throw a ball to him at the end of the day. You know what? Force him to watch a ball. He might. He's got great plate vision. He might take it, and but just don't give him that really juicy pitch right over the middle of the plate like Chris just did there, because 9 times out of 10 he's going to do exactly that. He's going to rope it.
Now stepping in is the left-handed batter, Matt Mervis. We'll walk you through the rest of the Cotuit order. Araj Anu is on deck. He's playing right. Casey Schmidt batting cleanup, playing third base. First pitch breaking ball on the inside part of the plate to Mervis is a strike. Colton Kessler, designated hitting, batting 5th. Parker Shavers at the 6th spot, playing left. Adam Oviedo, Dante Williams, and Cody Pasek. Oviedo at short, Williams at center, Pasek catching. They round out the order at 7, 8, and 9. Same exact lineup that Cotuit rolled out for Game 1. Ball number 1 misses outside to Matt Mervis. Count now 1-1.
And Mervis is a guy in this lineup who was held quiet in Game 1, was hitless, but against the Doors, hit 400 in the regular season, hit over 300 against lefties, so he's a guy just waiting to break out.
Check swing. It's in play. Gonzalez is off the mound, backhands it, throws on to first for out number 1. Gonzalez advances to second, but now 1 down, with Araj Anu stepping up. Matt Mervis 0 for 5 to start the series against Falmouth. Araj Anu had 2 hits in game number 1. He's batting .400 in these playoffs, and he's got a lot of power as well.
Yeah, he competed in the home run derby, so got to be careful with him. And these Kettleers hitters love hitting bombs. They didn't hit one in game 1 again, but they were second on the Cape during the regular season with long balls.
Anu batting from the right side. Sharp break on it looked like either a changeup or a curveball. Anu swung on top of it, 0-1 the count. He's got Gonzalez in scoring position. MVP of the Cape League started off the bottom of the first with a single on the first pitch he saw from Gonzalez. Second pitch, just a bit low, 1-1.
And Chris is throwing that fastball a lot less. It was a first pitch fastball to Gonzalez that he took right back through the middle, but then the next 2 hitters, big power guys, he's kept them off balance with a couple of off speed.
Anu, a switch hitter. As I said, batting as a righty against the left-hander Chris Gonzalez. He calls for time. Gonzalez steps off the mound, puts his left foot back on the rubber, and looks into Troy Clonch. Shakes off the Oregon State catcher on the first sign, and he'll step off the mound again. Defensive alignment for the Doors, Austin Maisel out in left, Blake Dunn in center, Zach DeLoach in right. Infield is pretty typical. Steven Moretto at the hot corner, Cruz at short, Cantrell at second, and Coots at first. As I mentioned, Troy Clonch catching. Curveball, just outside, 2-1.
Looks like Rudy Firmback has a tighter strike zone than most of the umpires we see on the Cape. That's not to say that he's calling balls that are strikes. No, these are balls, but he's definitely keeping everything pretty ship shape, and that's allowing the hitters to start swinging at pitches that they more often would actually swing at.
Gonzalez and Clonch not on the same page, as Gonzalez has stepped off the mound a couple times. He calls for Clonch to come out, and they're going to have a quick conversation.
I wonder why so early that they are kind of missing the signs. It doesn't even look like Clonch is sporting Chris stuff that he doesn't want to throw. I think it's more that they're just getting confused what is what at this point.
Gonzalez working with a 3-0 lead, trying to limit these Kettleers who have had a very potent offense. Second in the Cape League in runs scored in the regular season. Here's a ground ball up the middle, snatched by Gonzalez. He will jog off the mound and underhanded onto first. That's 2 straight 1-3 putouts, now 2 down, and Gonzalez on third base.
Yeah, and you know what? Not off the bat, but when Gonzalez squeezed it in his mitt, Nick Gonzalez was he was completely breaking, I should say, towards third base. He was about halfway through that line. I thought maybe Chris could have turned around, caught him in a rundown, but definitely the smarter move just to go to first, get that second out. And now that Gonzalez is on third, hey, you know what? He can score on a base hit, but you don't have to worry about a sacrifice fly, ground ball, anything like that. You can just get the out and get out of the inning unscathed.
Schmidt steps up. He was 2 for 4 in game 1 against Falmouth with a run scored. Batting cleanup and batting .200 on the postseason. 78-mile-an-hour off-speed tags the outside black to the right-handed Schmidt, 0-1.
Yeah, now every first pitch has been an off-speed pitch to everyone except Gonzalez.
Yeah. Gonzalez, the left-hander from Stetson University with a 3.40 ERA, throws a fastball and it's skied in the infield. Cantrell is there. He makes the catch, and that's the 3rd out. Hot start for the Doors, only no runs on 1 hit. No errors and 1 runner left on base for the Kettleers in the bottom of the first inning. To the second we go. It's 3-0 Falmouth on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves. The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
3-0 Falmouth as we start off the top of the second inning. Holcomb now out for his first full inning of work. He got the final 2 outs of inning number 1. Jackson Wolf in a third of an inning tabbed with 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 0 strikeouts. Mike Roberts rolls out another lefty, and Christopher Holcomb looking to ride him presumably 4 or 5 innings.
He's going to have to.
Austin Maisel, the 9-hitter, starts things off by taking a 70-mile-an-hour slider right over the middle. 0-1 the count to Maisel, who's 1 for 9 this postseason with a couple walks. Second pitch. Tags the outside black at 87 miles an hour, 0-2. Holcomb with that big windup. He brings his glove back behind his cap and delivers. Line drive caught by Oviedo at short. 1 down.
So this is the mess the Doors are going to have to deal with now for the foreseeable future. Trey Holland was able to keep them so quiet offensively, keeping them off balance with off-speed pitches, but even when they made contact, like Maisel just did right there, don't get a lot on it, and it's going to be an easy play for a lot of these fielders. And that's exactly, I think, what Mike Roberts wants because he knew that Holland was so successful.
Cantrell swings at the first pitch, grounded over, and snatched by Schmidt, who throws on to first. 2 down.
So Chris Holcomb has really settled down this lineup. He did that back on July 4th when the Doors won 4-1 right here at Lowell Park. They faced Holcomb for 3 2/3 innings. He didn't allow a run. He did allow 4 hits and 3 walks, racked up 4 Ks, but he ate up a ton of innings in that ball game and was able to keep it close, even though Cotuit was never able to come back.
Yeah, he came out in middle relief in the 4-1 loss for the Kettleers on July 4th. First pitch swinging is Blake Dunn. He lofts it foul past right field, 0-1. Holcomb wearing those rec specs. He's got the long flow coming out behind his maroon cap. 0-1 count to Dunn with 2 outs. Misses outside to the righty, 1-1. Falmouth is wearing their traditional road uniforms. That's the black tops with the maroon lettering, gray pants, and maroon socks. Cotuit ditching the home pinstripes. They got the pinstripe pants, but the practice jersey shirts. Another ball outside, 2-1. And they've been wearing those for the past week and a half, 2 weeks.
We've really only seen Cotuit wear a true blue jersey, I think once this summer, if I can remember.
Yeah. 2-1 from Holcomb. Fastball swung on into right field. Araja New is back, and he makes the catch over his shoulder. Quick work for Holcomb. That's exactly what the Kettleers need. They send it back to the man on the bump, Chris Gonzalez, who shut down the Kettleers in the first, trying to do the same in the second.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Colton Kessler, Parker Shavers, Adam Oviedo coming up for the Kettleers here in the bottom of the second inning. Chris Gonzalez worked a solid first on just 10 pitches. First pitch to Kessler, tags him on the thigh, and he'll trot down to first. Another leadoff base runner for the Kets.
Gonzalez is going with that off-speed pitch again, trying to get it to break over the outside part of the plate. Instead, when it started its break, it was already about to hit Kessler on the thigh. He didn't move a muscle and is able to wear it for an HBP.
It was the middle of the lineup, hitters 3 through 7, who really got to Justin Robleski in game number 1. Kettleers had 7 hits through the first 2 innings, all of them singles. Parker Shavers takes a first pitch off speed down the middle for a strike. And that's really when Cotuit pounced on Falmouth, took the crowd out of the game, and ended up winning 5-0. Slider breaks too far outside to the lefty Shavers, 1-1.
Yeah, you know, people might sleep that Cotuit, after that 3rd inning when they tacked on their 4th, what would be 5 runs, they only really had 2 hits after that for the rest of the game through the 4th and the 9th.
1-1, fastball. Fouled back towards the Falmouth side. Falmouth's dugouts on the first base side, Cotuit and Mike Roberts down third base. Very solid crowd on hand here at Lowell Park. As is tradition, Kettleers fans come out in droves, filling up both bleachers down the left field line and the right field line. The 1-2. Line drive into center field, a base hit. Blake Dunn fields it between his legs, throws into short, and the first 2 base runners are on with nobody out here in the second.
Man, Parker Shavers just went up and got that baseball. That was thrown around his chin, and he just said, whatever, I'm going after it, and I'm going to make contact, hit it right back through the middle. Just goes to show that if you're a good enough hitter, you don't need to swing at only strikes. It's a 2-strike protection swing that ends up with a hit.
Adam Oviedo had a great game in game number 1 against Falmouth. 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. .333 hitter this playoffs. Watch his first pitch outside. 1-0. Oviedo, the shortstop, transferring from TCU to Oral Roberts. Batted .252 in the regular season with the Kettleers. Trying to keep the hit parade going for Cotuit here in inning number 2. Falmouth tacked on 3 in the top of the first. Kettleers were blanked in the bottom of the first. And Falmouth in the top half of the second. Gonzalez, a couple long looks into Klon, shakes him off, steps off the mound. Now he's back in there. Oviedo, right-handed batter, with Kessler in scoring position at second. Shavers is at first. He shows bunt, lays it down perfectly down the third base line. Moretto fields it with his glove, throws on to first. Got him! Mike Roberts can't believe it. He waves his hands in disgust. 1 down, 2 runners in scoring position.
Just a bang-bang play, pretty much a 50-50 call. Tyler Bullock kind of doesn't hesitate at all. I mean, not much you can do about that if there's no replay review. It's not one of those where, I don't know, it didn't look insanely one way or another to me. I think he's just as fair calling it an out as he is calling it safe. Mike Roberts is furious, but honestly, you know what? Oviedo got the job done. He got the sacrifice down. You've got 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out.
Roberts halfway down the third base line saying that's horrible to Tyler Bullock, the first base hump. It was an emphatic call from Bullock at first base. No meeting of the umpires, and we'll continue. Kessler is on third. Shavers is on second. Williams is up with 1 out. Williams batting .267 this postseason with a double and 3 RBIs. Watches the first pitch outside. Lefty-lefty matchup here with 1 down in the second.
First pitch strikes, early strikes have to be the MO for Chris Gonzalez. When he's at his best, it's because he's getting ahead of hitters 0-1, 0-2. Right now, he's trying to be a little too cute, and that's what's given them so many advantages.
The 1-0 after a quick look back to second base is just inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Williams, the 5'10 outfielder from the University of Arizona, batted .267 with the Wildcats this past season, with 35 RBIs and 7 stolen bases. He wreaked some havoc on the base paths in Game 1 against Falmouth. He's got a 2-0 count. He watches a ball outside, bounces past Troy Clonch, but staying at third is Kessler. Clonch ran back, threw it quickly to Gonzalez, but Kessler likely could have scored a run.
And Troy looked like someone set a fire underneath him. He got so quick over to that baseball, and I think what held Kessler up is initially looked like Troy kept it in front of him, took an extra bounce, a weird carom on the inside of his foot, rolled between his legs. And you're right, Kessler could have scored, but on initial glance, he didn't think that it was going to get that deep into the backstop.
So a 3-0 count to Williams, and Gonzalez in danger of loading the bases. He delivers. Ball 4, low and away. 4-pitch walk puts runners on first, second, and third with just one out for Cody Pasek. Pasek has had a phenomenal playoffs thus far. .333 average for the University of Maine catcher, who is a Cotuit native. A roar of applause. Greet him as he steps into the batter's box. Another lefty-lefty matchup here with one down in the bottom of the second. Gonzalez back in the windup. He looks into Claunch and starts his delivery. Fastball, high and outside, 1-0.
Cody Pasek was only a .206 hitter during the regular season, but like you said, he's really turned it on in this postseason. So even though he's in the 9-hole, still dangerous with the bases juiced.
The 1-0. Ground ball, left side. Coots fields it on a high hop. He'll take it to first himself. No double play. It scores a run, now 3-1 with 2 down.
That's a pretty good trade-off, if you ask me. A run does come home, but with the pressure that Cotuit has been putting on in the ballgame so far, Gonzalez getting into third last inning, the bases loaded with 1 out this inning, I think an out and a run scoring is a decent trade-off.
Ideally would have obviously been the double play. That way, you don't have to worry about this man who steps up to the plate, Nick Gonzalez. He's unbelievable with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, batting .387 in the regular season during that scenario. He's got 2 ducks on the pond with 2 down. First pitch swinging, and he comes up empty, 0-1. Beautiful changeup at 76 miles an hour.
And looked like he was like a quarter of a second off from it. Otherwise, that was going to go into the gap. He put on a great swing. He was looking off speed, and he nearly belted it, and somehow Chris beat him.
Gonzalez started off the bottom of the first with a single on pitch number 1 from Gonzalez. The Gonzalez-Gonzalez matchup. The 0-1. Popped back and out of play. 0-2 to the best hitter on the Cape.
Game 1, Doors were able to keep him 2 for 5. And even though that's, an over 300 batting average, not many teams can say that they, in a single game, were able to limit him to that. But still, had 2 singles, and both of them were good for RBIs. When he comes up with runners on base, he is second to none.
Shavers is on third. Williams is on second. First base clear after the ground out from Cody Pasek. Gonzalez working in the windup, delivers. High and away. Gonzalez lays off, 1-2.
And I like the approach. He goes with an up and away fastball. Even if he makes contact with it, he's not going to put it into play. That one is way out of the zone. When you're ahead 0-2, you can waste a couple of pitches and see if you can get Nick swinging at one of them. He had a pair of Ks in game 1, and one of them was on a pitch way out of the zone.
The 1-2. Drops below the knees for ball number 2. Count now even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gonzalez leading the Cape in nearly every statistical category. First in runs scored, hits, total bases, doubles, triples, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, extra base hits, you name it. The 2-2. Strike 3, got him looking. Chris Gonzalez strikes out the MVP, Nick Gonzalez, and gets out of a jam. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, 2 left on base for the Kettleers, and Falmouth is up 3-1, heading to the top of the third. It'll be Zach DeLoach, the batting champion, starting things off for Falmouth when we come back after the break.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
A huge strikeout ended the bottom of inning number 2. Now Zach DeLoach, Trey Cruz, and Jackson Coots coming up for the Doors here in the top of the third. And Danny, something I noticed, especially in this game where it's going to be mostly hitters, the pitchers might not have as much of an advantage. It feels like innings 1, 2, and 3 are innings 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, I don't know if this is going to turn out to a slugfest by any stretch, if it's going to be back and forth, but it looks like it's going to be right now.
First pitch to Zach DeLoach, lofted towards the Cotuit dugout on the third base side, 0-1. But I feel like there's such pressure for both teams to get an early lead and get in the driver's seat. You know, the tension in these first 3 innings is comparable to that of the latter 3 in pretty much any other game.
And you could hear it from the crowd, too. They're really into it, even when they fell behind 3-0. They know that this Cotuit team doesn't quit, and you give them an inch, they'll start running all over you.
Holcomb with that big windup delivers a second pitch that bounces below the knees of Zach DeLoach. Count now 1-1. He singled on a 1-1 pitch to load the bases in the first. Trey Cruz popped out, and then a Jackson Coots walk scored the first run of the game. Falmouth then added 2 more. They're up 3-1 on Cotuit. Ball 2, high and outside, 2-1.
Yeah, he's now got a 10-game hitting streak. How about Zach? When they needed him to be even better than he was all summer long, he has turned it on.
DeLoach a .333 average against Cotuit in the regular season. Ground ball to the right side. Easy work for Gonzalez, who throws on to first. 1 out.
Ever since Holcomb was brought on, he's retired every single batter he's faced. 6 up and 6 down. It's like the kryptonite for the Commodores is just soft-tossing lefties.
I will say Holcomb and Gonzalez about the same in velo. Fastball, high 80s. Off speed, usually mid-70s. First pitch to Trey Cruz is above the letters at 81 miles an hour. Trey Holland, who started game 1 for Cotuit, went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, no earned runs. The 1-0 to Cruz. Pop fly on the infield again. Trey Cruz frustrated as Matt Mervis works back into fair play and makes the catch. 7 up, 7 down now for Holcomb. And Jackson Coots coming to the dish.
Yeah, and Trey now with 2 pop-outs to first base. It's definitely not a swing that's going to generate much. He's getting underneath the ball a lot. He's seeing these about belt-high pitches that he's trying to crank over the scoreboard, and he's getting way too far under them. It's just a matter of kind of leveling that swing and getting a little more patient.
Ground ball down the first base side, bounces foul. 0-1 the count to Jackson Coots, who had the first RBI of the game on the walk. Coots' father, 3-year manager of the Cotuit Kettleers, is in town. He's planted out in center field. Rooting for Falmouth today, though. Ball 1 misses outside. Jeff Trundy, manager for the Commodores for now 21 seasons, was the assistant manager under Mike Coots in Cotuit. The 1-1 from Holcomb. Low at the ankles of Jackson Coots, 2-1.
I think that's the equivalent of like trading a Sox hat for a Yankees hat.
It's pretty darn close. I mean, I was looking at it, and this is one of the most bitter rivalries in the Cape League. The 2-1, cranked out into deep center field. Williams is underneath it. He will make the catch. 3 up, 3 down in the second straight inning for Christopher Holcomb. Falmouth still has the lead, but it's just 3-1. No runs on no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We'll be back for the bottom of the third on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Redshirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape. Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Chris Gonzalez struck out Nick Gonzalez to end the bottom of the second inning. 2 runners were in scoring position. Could have tied the game if Gonzalez got a single or an extra base hit, but instead, the lefty from Stetson won the battle, and now hitters 2, 3, and 4 are due up for Cotuit. Matt Mervis, Araj Anu, and Casey Schmidt.
Yeah, that Gonzalez matchup to finish off the second inning, to me, I remember watching Quick Pitch on MLB Network back when I was younger every morning, and they would have a degree. Who kept their cool moment? They would have the biggest moment of the night. Guy would come up, 3-2 ball game, runners on second and third, 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. And with the pitcher, the hitter kept their cool. Who came out on top? That's what that felt like, and it was in the second inning.
Matt Mervis takes a ball inside. Big lefty from Duke grounded out to Chris Gonzalez for the first out of the first inning. Mervis batted .400 against Falmouth in the regular season, but is 0 for 5 to start the playoffs against the Doors. Off speed, breaks too far outside to the left-hander, 2-0.
There's too many balls so far from Chris.
Yep.
Got to get ahead of these guys.
15 balls, 15 strikes, 30 total pitches from Gonzalez. Pitch 31 is a ball as well, 3-0.
He's not missing by too much, but I think he's just trying to be a little too careful with a lot of these.
Strike 1 right down the middle. 3 balls and a strike. Mervis will be a senior next year at Duke University. 6'4", 225, infielder and right-handed pitcher. He had a .216 ERA with the Blue Devils, and Mike Roberts has used him on the mound plenty this summer. Here's a high, deep drive out into left field. Maisel is camped under it. He makes the catch just at the wall. 1 down.
Yeah, Mervis is a really entertaining player to watch because he's very solid on the bump, and at the plate, he's so darn good as well. This guy hits home runs like it's nobody's business. Was looking for his 3rd of the postseason on that swing, and was about to go Oppo Taco with it too. Yeah. Sent Maisel all the way to the left field fence. Just goes to show how much power is in that big frame.
The wind is also blowing out here at Lowell Park. Not sure what team that favors. Falmouth and Cotuit, 3rd and 2nd in the Cape League in home runs. Falmouth had 33 for 3rd in the league. Cotuit had 37. That was 2nd behind just Brewster. Pitch number 1 to Araj Anu, misses outside and away, 1-0. He grounded out to the pitcher as well in the first inning, and it was a nice play made by Gonzalez. Jumped up on the mound, snatched a high chopper out of the air, and threw on to first. The 1-0, grounded to the left side, fielded by Moretto easily, and a nice throw on to first. 2 up, 2 down here in the 3rd for Chris Gonzalez.
He's done a really good job limiting the middle of this order. Mervis at the 2-hole is more of a 4-hitter, if you ask me. He's 0 for 2. Anu, the home run derby contestant, has now hit 2 balls on the ground. He's 0 for 2, and Casey Schmidt coming up to the plate right here. The cleanup guy popped out to second base in his first and only AB. So really only 1 well-hit baseball from these 2, 3, and 4 hitters.
Casey Schmidt popped out to Hayden Cantrell to end the first inning. He watches a first pitch strike. 0-1. Fernbach getting an earful right now from some Cotuit fans and players.
I'm thinking these Cotuit fans would not have liked Mark Piantadosi if they were at Falmouth, because he was calling a good inch or 2 below the knees.
The 0-1. Rifled into deep right field. Back is DeLoach. He's at the wall as well, and he will make the catch to end the 3rd inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. It's the first 1-2-3 inning work by Gonzalez, as Steven Moretto will be the 3rd batter up for Falmouth in the top of the 4th. Still 3-1 Doors on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at
We are back at Lowell Park. If you've been listening the whole game, you heard my partner Danny LaRose mention if trading Cotuit for Falmouth fandom is the equivalent of Yankees and Red Sox. This is a bitter rivalry, and for more on that, we welcome in Katie Florio. Katie.
Thanks, David. And yeah, there's always been a rivalry between Falmouth and Cotuit. They're very close in proximity, and each team has a competitive lineup. But there's also a little chippiness between these two teams. In Game 1 of this series, when Cotuit arrived in Falmouth, they asked the Falmouth PA guy to play the certain music that they liked. Well, when Falmouth got here today, they turned their BP music off completely. Austin Langworthy has been on this team for 3 summers now, and he said it's always a little different baseball between Falmouth and Cotuit. Every year he's been here, both teams have been good, and it's always been a lot of fun playing them, and definitely a good game through these first 3 innings.
Thank you so much, Katie. So we'll see who gets the edge in this game. If this series goes 3, that'll be an entertaining Game 3 because we know the Cotuit fans will come out in buses out to Gov Fuller Field.
They did for Game 1. They filled up that entire right field side.
And they watched the Kettleers win on the road 5-0 to take a 1-0 series lead. Falmouth in the driver's seat in Game 2. First pitch from Holcomb to Claunch is low and inside. 1-0. And I was looking at it, and in a lot of ways, the Cotuit Kettleers are the Yankees of the Cape League. 16 championships is far and away the most out of any of the 10 teams. Next up is just 10 with Yarmouth Dennis. Ball 2 misses outside. Falmouth, 7 championships, 6 in the modern era, and none since 1980. So maybe a little bit of a dry spell there for the Doors.
Right.
Comparable to some in the major leagues. The 2-0 fouled back out of play. 2-1.
Yeah, and like the Red Sox, I mean, maybe if we're drawing this comparison full-blown with the Doors, it's not because they've been, a perennial non-contender. They're not like the Kansas City Royals where they win the World Series in '85 and then are just nothing for the rest of, until 2015. They have been making it to the championship series plenty.
2-1 tags the inside part of the plate to the right-hander, Claunch. Yeah, they've had their hearts broken a few times, like the Red Sox fans did, in the 80s and early 2000s before that run in 04. They've lost in a 2-2 foul tipped, and it can't be squeezed by Pasek. But as I was saying, they lost in 3 games in 2016. Lost in 2014 to Yarmouth Dennis. Lost in 2004. Jeff Trundy still looking for his first Cape League championship in 21 seasons. 2-2 to Claunch. Could have been a strikeout, but Pasek couldn't squeeze it. Second try. Into right field for a base hit. Troy Claunch starts things off with a single here in the 4th inning. He's now 2 for 2 on the day.
And Troy has been swinging a great bat. He's only 2 for 12 entering this ball game for the postseason. But you know what? He just seems like every swing he's putting on is looking like a good ball. He hasn't been getting the drops that he wants. And these 2 singles, both of them going to the opposite field, not trying to do too much with them, sitting back on a couple of slow pitches and doing exactly what you need to do. You're not going to hit nukes off of Holcomb when he's only throwing 79. You've got to settle for singles like that one.
Austin Langworthy shows bunt, pulls back, takes a ball. Doors got some life here in the 4th after Chris Holcomb retired the first 8 batters he had faced. Claunch is the first base runner he's allowed. Pitch to Langworthy, low and away, 2-0.
And if you think about it, that's really one time through the order because Langworthy was the first guy who got to see Holcomb. So now you're getting to see Chris once more, and maybe you know what to expect. If you're Langworthy, you're knowing what to sit back on and how to approach.
2-0, swung on, chopped back towards us. Foul ball makes it 2-1. Schmidt, the third baseman, playing in on the corner. Middle infield playing at about medium depth. Mervis is planted over at first base to hold on Claunch, who made it over to second base in the 1st inning but was left stranded with Steven Moretto at the plate. Big breaking ball drops in for a strike at 70 miles an hour, 2-2.
That's something all season long Langworthy hasn't been able to register. It's those off-speed pitches from lefties that's really given him fits. Only had a 176 average against left-handers throughout the summer, and a lot of them were off-speed guys like this.
Ball outside, 3-2.
That one coming in at 91 on the gun. So Holcomb, again, not as slow as Dollard, but I think his change in velocity between his fastball and his off speed is impressive.
Oh, yeah, he's intentionally throwing it real slow because that's definitely the scouting report.
Full count to Langworthy. Pasek setting up outside. Ground ball, foul down the first baseline.
And I think maybe the best bet for Falmouth right now when you get to in these middle innings is try to get Holcomb to throw as many pitches as possible like Langworthy is doing right here. In the long term, you can maybe get to another guy in the bullpen, maybe someone who doesn't hold you as well as Holcomb does. And in the short term, you can work lengthy at-bats like this one and force him to make a mistake, maybe throws one over the plate.
Holcomb's thrown 38 pitches now. Here's pitch 39. Swung on and missed, strike 3. High fastball. Langworthy goes after, one down here in the 4th.
We saw him strike out on a similar pitch last ball game. It was his final at-bat in the 8th inning. It was a 1-2-3 inning against the Doors, and he goes after those high fastballs pretty frequently. One of his bugaboos.
Steven Moretto flew out to right field to end the 1st inning. It was a ball well out in foul play past the right field line. But Arajanu ranged over, made the catch to bring the Kettleers fans to their feet. Holcomb throws down to first. Launches in safely without even sliding. And Claunch with that leadoff single, I really loved his interview after game 1 against Cotuit. He just had this seriousness about him, but he also talked about needing energy in game 2. Big breaking ball drops over the plate. 0-1 the count to Moretto. And he's playing like it today.
Yeah. And in game 1, he kind of brought the energy a little bit. He ended up going 1 for 3, walked and singled. So he's starting to put together his better games in the Western Division Final.
The 0-1. Back up the middle. Out of the reach of Gonzalez. Holcomb almost made a play. Gonzalez almost made a play, but it leaks into center field. Now runners on first and second with 1 out.
Yeah, sometimes you make great contact and you still need a couple of lucky bounces. Holcomb brought the glove up, but he looked a little hesitant, was more trying to protect himself. Can't blame him for that. He was more trying to protect himself than come up with the catch. He nearly did, and it might have nicked off his glove, not quite sure, but it slowed down, it looked like, when Gonzalez made the dive for it, but he made his dive a half second too early. He was timing it before it went past Holcomb, and that one just squeaked past him, or else that probably could have been a force out at second.
Austin Maisel swings at the first pitch, fouls it back towards the restrooms here at Lowell Park, which is hopping on this Wednesday evening.
Yeah, despite the early start, people have come out in droves.
5:01, an hour gone here as we are in the top of the 4th inning between the Kettleers and Commodores. Fastball tags the outside black, 0-2. Maisel didn't like it.
Those are the pitches he's got to jump on, though. He's really struggled against lefties when they're throwing off speed pitches. He's been out in front of a lot of them, but these heaters is what he's got to look for.
He was down 0-2 in the 2nd inning and lined out to shortstop. This is out of the reach of Gonzalez and into right field. Claunch holds up at third. Throw in quickly from Arajanu means a good call from Brett Becker, the third base coach. And the Falmouth Commodores have the bases loaded again here in the 4th inning. Just 1 out.
Yeah, only Maisel's second hit of the playoffs, and he didn't get the most contact on it. It was a slow roller off the bat, but Gonzalez playing a little shaded towards double play depth. He dove the other way this time instead of on his backhand, on his forehand, couldn't come up with it. And those are, again, I go back to the Claunch hit. Those are the type of singles you need. You're not going to get amazing contact on it, but you're going to need to just sit back on the ball, find holes. And again, it looked like Becker, like you said, it was a good call from Becker to hold up Claunch. It looked like he waved him around initially, but then gave him a late stop sign.
Hayden Cantrell takes a ball low as the leadoff man is up with the bases juiced. Claunch is on third. He singled. Moretto is on second. He singled. And Maisel with a base knock of his own to load the bases. These hits reminding me of the ones that the Kettleers had in game 1. Just some base knocks here and there can get the job done. Big off speed, just 67 miles an hour. But it's getting some plate. Now 1-1. That was a strike.
I think biggest key right now for Hayden is take a couple of pitches. Don't jump all over some of these early ones because you might see one better on. You might find yourself falling 1 and 2, but he's a guy who hasn't walked in a while, and he's got good plate vision.
The 1-1 to the switch hitting Cantrell. He takes another breaking ball for a strike. He didn't like it, thought it was low.
Yeah.
1-2.
I thought it was pretty far inside. It broke a ton, but Pasek got his entire frame over there and was able to make a much easier little pull back onto the inside corner to sell it.
1 ball and 2 strikes to the switch hitting Cantrell. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Big strikeout for Holcomb, now 2 down with Blake Dunn up at the plate.
And that's a great approach from Holcomb. He goes with some of those real slow breakers in on the hand, 67 miles an hour. Another one that breaks all the way from the left-hand batter's box in onto the right-hand corner. And all of a sudden, Cantrell finds himself down 1-2. He's thinking he's going to go back to that again. He's gotten a couple of great calls. And then he goes with a high heat. Was out of the strike zone, but Cantrell, tough to lay off when you see it up there, and you've just seen breaking balls.
First pitch to Dunn. Swung on and rifled out into deep center field. Back is Williams. He's at the wall, and he makes the catch, slamming into the center field fence. Dante Williams saved a run, maybe 2, maybe 3. Blake Dunn killed that ball out to center, but the center fielder from Arizona robs Dunn of extra bases. No runs on 3 hits, no errors. 3 runners left on base for the Falmouth Commodores. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Still 3-1 Doors, but an outstanding play by Cotuit keeps this game close. We'll be back after this. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. Doors had 3 base knocks against Chris Holcomb in the 4th, but they come up empty. Still just a 2-run lead for Falmouth, as Chris Gonzalez will have to silence hitters 5, 6, and 7. Colton Kessler, Parker Shavers, and Adam Oviedo here in the 4th. Danny, that feels like a big missed opportunity for Falmouth.
It's tough to even call it a missed opportunity because Blake Dunn put everything into that baseball. I thought it was going to be a grand slam when I saw it carry as much as it did. And maybe against the guy who throws a touch faster, it would have gone over the fence. But again, a great, amazing catch made by Dante Williams. And if you're the Commodores, you're just hoping that Gonzalez can settle them down pretty easily in this half inning because you need to get those bats back up at the plate. Don't give Cotuit any more momentum than they already got thanks to that amazing catch. And try to, keep your foot on the gas pedal and keep on pouring it on. It was 3 runs in the 1st inning. That's great, but you let Cotuit slowly chip away. It's never good.
Colton Kessler scored the first run of this ball game after he was hit by a pitch in the 2nd. Moved all the way around the bases on the Shavers single, the Oviedo ground out, and the Williams walk. Watches the first pitch for a ball, swings at the 2nd pitch and fouls it out of play, 1-1. Falmouth Commodores and the Cotuit Kettleers here in Game 2 of the Western Division Final. Falmouth needs to win 2 straight to move on to the CCBL Championship. Cotuit just 1 win away from that championship series. Ball 2 breaks outside. David Korzenowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. Happy that you're with us on this Wednesday evening. Falmouth, the best record in the regular season in the Cape League. Cotuit finished 3rd in the Western Division. Strike 2 is at the knees. Falmouth, 27-15-2 in the regular season. Cotuit was 20-20-4.
But they're not playing like a 500 team in the postseason.
No question about it.
They are playing like they could have won the division.
They've won 3 straight in the playoffs now, have the Kettleers. 2-2, fouled back into the screen. Count stays the same.
And you look at the run differential, obviously 22-2 in the 2nd game against Wareham is going to make things really lopsided. But Game 3 against Wareham, 4-1 victory. Game 1 against Falmouth, 5-0 victory. So they're outscoring opponents 9-1 in 2 very important games.
The 2-2 to Kessler. Off speed that he gets a piece of. Lands amongst the trees on the left side of this field. Count stays the same. Falmouth went to 3 games in the first round against Bourne. They won Game 1 3-2, lost Game 2 3-1.
won that do or die game 3, 8-2. Here's a line drive into center field for a base hit. And Kessler is now aboard for the second time tonight.
Colton Kessler is just putting together a ridiculous postseason. When you compare it to the regular season he was able to have, I mean, he was nothing like this. He only hit 138 throughout those 44 games in the regular season. Now entered this ball game with a batting average up around 380. He was batting 384, has another single, and that was a crazy at bat because he saw a bunch of great two-strike pitches from Gonzalez, able to fight them off, and then just kind of a defensive swing that he's able to put into center.
High deep drive into right field. Dunn moves over. He makes the catch in right center for out number 1. Off the bat from Parker Shavers. Looked dangerous, but 1 down.
And Chris Gonzalez, when he's at his best, he's throwing first pitch strikes, getting ahead of guys in counts, and he's getting a lot of ground balls when he's doing well. Right now, he's throwing a lot of early balls. I mean, that seemed like it was the first pitch strike in a long time, and a lot of these guys have been putting on great swings. Casey Schmidt's final out of the third was sent to the wall. Matt Mervis's first out of the third was sent to the wall. Shavers didn't put it as far, but still got great wood on it. Here, Gonzalez, you got to keep things low.
Oviedo swings at the first pitch, fouled back and out of play. 0-1 the count to the shortstop who grounded out to third base back in the second inning. So Falmouth went to 3 games against Bourne. Cotuit went to 3 games against Wareham. They lost game number 1, 8-7 on a walk-off. They won game 2, 22-2 here at Lowell Park. Ball number 1 skips in the dirt and over Troy Claunch. Kessler moves on to second. Now a runner in scoring position and 1 out. And then Cotuit won game 3 against Wareham out at Spillane Field by a score of 4-1. So the pitching staff over the last 3 games has let up just 4 runs total.
Yeah, they've really settled down.
Gonzalez working from the stretch. He looks back to Kessler at second and delivers. Nice changeup. Oviedo got a piece, fouled it down to his manager and third base coach Mike Roberts, who puts that ball in his back pocket, claps his hands, and moves back towards third. Kessler started off this inning with a single. He moves about 8 feet off of that second base bag. Infield for the Commodores playing at normal depth, the 1-2. Ground ball to the left side, fielded by Moretto, swings around his body, picked by Coots. In time. Nice play by Steven Moretto. Cruz was there at short, but the third baseman makes another nice put out.
Yeah, whole time I thought that was Cruz's ball because that was pretty much all the way towards him. He's playing pretty deep in the hole near third base with the runner on second. Thought he was going to settle for it on a backhand, would have had to make a quick throw. Instead, Moretto darts in front of him. Good job communicating that he'll take it and had to make a spin around throw to get onto first in time, but still executes it nicely.
Williams now steps up. Left-handed batter from Arizona made a spectacular catch out at the fence in center field to end the top of the 4th inning. He swings at the first pitch, swings out of his shoes, and just gets a piece. 0-1.
Yeah, nearly lost his helmet. It's an 81-mile-an-hour change that died right around his knees. And that was kind of that whiplash type swing.
Right. Dante Williams batting .267 coming into this game in the playoffs. He worked a big walk on just 4 pitches in the second inning, then moved over to second base on the ground out from Pasek, but was left stranded after Nick Gonzalez struck out to end the second inning. Strike 2 tags the inside part of the plate. 0-2 to the 8-hitter.
Beautiful pitch.
Gonzalez has been working inside to lefties quite a bit.
I think that's a really great approach, especially this Cotuit team that seems to, play matchups really well and a lot of opposite field hitting, a lot of long counts. Might as well attack them inside and try to throw them off balance.
Williams bobbing that front foot up and down. He watches a ball outside. Looked like a fastball from Gonzalez. His fastball usually runs 85 to 88. So won't blow you away with his speed. But he's been a consistent starter for Falmouth since day 1. Made 8 starts in the regular season. The 1-2, fouled off of the front foot of Williams. He barely flinches, and the count stays the same.
Another big hack from Williams, and he's not major home run hitter by any stretch.
Just 2 home runs in the regular season for Williams and a 190 batting average, but he, like Kessler, has been pretty solid these playoffs and has been a consistent starter. Again, Cotuit rolling out the same batting order that they did in Game 1 versus Falmouth. Kettleers won that first game 5-0 back on Monday evening. We were rained out last night. So Game 2 tonight, and Game 3, if necessary, tomorrow at 6 p.m. back at the Gov. The 1-2. Bounces low, nice block by Claunch, now 2-2.
Again, I'm liking the approach from Gonzalez. This Cotuit team, really good plate vision, but also amazing two-strike hitting from them. So when you're ahead 0-2, you have a couple of waste pitches. Yeah, probably half the time, majority of the time, they're going to watch them go by. But still, it sets you up for pitches when you're deeper in the count, and at the very least, you're not letting them burn you.
Gonzalez's pitch count still solid at 54. Pitch 55, rifled down the first base line and foul. This will now be pitch number 8 of the at-bat to Williams. Still just a 2-2 count.
This reminds me a lot of Kessler's count when he fell behind to 2-2.
Yeah, that's
fouled a ton of pitches off, and then his final swing was not really even much of a swing, but he's able to still poke it into center field.
Base knock could score a run depending on where it lands. Kessler on second base, not with the most speed. The 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. It was actually foul tipped into the mitt, but a K nonetheless. Big strikeout for Gonzalez ends the 4th. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and a runner left on base for the Kettleers. As we head to the 5th inning, Trey Cruz will be on deck, and a 3-1 lead for Falmouth.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod,
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Back here from Lowell Park, top of the 5th inning. Falmouth leads Cotuit 3-1. All of their runs coming in the top of the 1st against Jackson Wolf. But right now, Danny, the Commodores will try to tag the 3rd pitcher of the game for Cotuit. It's Evan Justice from NC State.
You think Mike Roberts has an agenda? He's throwing out yet another lefty against the Commodores. They have yet to face a righty from Cotuit, and Justice coming into the ball game has been a lot better recently and better compared to his July 3rd outing against the Commodores at Gov Fuller Field. He threw 2 2/3 innings of work, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, walked 4, only struck out 1. That was the biggest thing for him. Since then, he's limited the walks a little bit better at about a walk per inning pace. But again, limiting those run outputs, he's only allowed 1 run over his last 2 appearances. That's 3 innings.
Lefty-lefty matchup with Deloach starting things off. He checks swings. Appeal down to third base. He held up. 1-0 the count. Justice with an 0-3 record. He has yet to pitch in the playoffs. 20 innings of work in the regular season with just 9 strikeouts to 16 walks. Deloach 1 for 2 today with a run scored back in the 1st. He chops one over towards second base. Fielded on a backhand by Gonzalez. Quick throw onto first. They got him. Nice play by the MVP in the hole.
And that's the thing about him. I know that we rave about his hitting so darn much, but his fielding is also up there for some of the best middle infield in the Cape. That's a really tough play, a slow chopper. And he's got Deloach running, so he's got some speed. Not a ton. He's not Cantrell or Dunn type speed, but still got a good amount of speed, and he's able to get him by a good step.
Trey Cruz, the switch hitter, has popped out to first base both at bats. Swings at the first pitch, dribbles it down the third base line and foul towards the third base coach, Brett Becker, who will throw it onto a fan. I think he's looking for someone in Falmouth gear. The 0-1 to Cruz, inside, 1-1.
Thing with Trey lately is he's swinging a lot with his upper body, a lot of shoulders in his swing. It's allowed him to hit a moonshot home run against Bourne, but also contributing to those pop-ups. And he's also out ahead of a lot of off-speed pitches.
1-1, just outside. 2 balls and a strike to Cruz. He came up with the bases loaded and nobody out in the first inning, popped up on the infield, and was frustrated with himself. Justice working quickly, delivers. High and outside again, 3-1. Justice has got a funky delivery.
Yeah. He throws fast, too, so that completely interrupts the groove that the Doors got into against Holcomb.
6'4" lefty, just outside with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And the walk troubles continue for Justice, now a man aboard with 1 out.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of been a walk per inning pace for him in these last couple of outings. He had 1 walk in 2 innings against YD his last outing, 2 walks in 1 inning before against Harwich, 3 walks in 3 innings before that against Hyannis. So you got to expect the base on balls to come pretty consistently.
This ball gets past Cody Pasek, and Cruz is on to second. First pitch to Jackson Coots squeaked between his legs. A 1-0 count to Coots, and Cruz now in scoring position.
And that's big when you got Jackson at the plate. RBIs in 7 of his last 9 games. He's got 2 hits in 3 straight, putting together a 4-game hitting streak. He's a guy who's been red hot and is an RBI machine in the later part of the regular season into the postseason.
1-0 the count to Coots. Big curveball drops in for a strike. 1-1 to number 39, who walked for an RBI in the first, flew out to deep center in the third. Falmouth up 3-1. 3 runs on 6 hits, no errors. 1 run on 3 hits, no errors for Cotuit. The 1-1. Low and away. Pasek dives to his left to make the stop, 2-1.
Yeah, he was setting up in the zone. That was a 93-mile-an-hour fastball that was gripped a little too tightly by Justice. He yanked it over towards the side he falls off of. That's the third base side. And Pasek had to get that glove down there in a heartbeat. That one easily could have beat him.
Justice working from the stretch. He looks back to Cruz, lifts his right leg and delivers. Ground ball to the right side. Gonzalez again on to first. 2 down. Cruz advances to third with Troy Clonch coming up to the plate. He's 2 for 2. Now 2 down and a runner 90 feet away for Falmouth.
So now it's just a matter of if Troy can keep up that great pace he's had against the Kettleers all summer long. July 31st against Cotuit, 2 for 2, a pair of walks and RBI. Last game against Cotuit in Game 1, he had a hit and a walk, and so far today, 2 singles.
Justice working from the stretch with just a runner on third. First pitch fastball is a strike right at the knees at 94 miles an hour. Clonch with an RBI single in the first, a leadoff single in the fourth. Justice doesn't really lift that right leg a lot, kind of brings it back towards his left, squats and delivers. Foul ball, back in our direction, 0-2.
Troy was so close to that, just a half an inch underneath the baseball. Otherwise, that is going to be sent for a gapper into left center field.
2 down here in the top of the 5th. Falmouth still just up 2. They scored all 3 of their runs in the top of the first inning on Jackson Wolf. The 0-2. High. 1-2. Clonch with a .429 batting average in the regular season against Cotuit. He also struggled against lefties with a batting average below 100 at .095. But he's changed that today, and he has a great eye as he watches a second ball at his ankles, 2-2.
That's shocking. How often do you hear a righty being able to hit righties much better than lefties? I mean, not just 1 or 2, points
Sure.
ahead, but he was .200 batter about in the regular season, but mostly successful against righties.
Claunch ended the regular season with 2 hits in back-to-back games, the 2-2. Nice foul ball to stay alive. Back towards Jeff Trundy on the first base side. 2-2.
Great placement by Justice. Goes with a fastball in on the hands, right around belt high. There's not much you can do with that if you're Claunch, because you can't get out ahead of it because it's coming in at you at 91 miles an hour. Can't get the arms extended because it's in on the hands like that. Best you can do, just foul it off, and that's what he did.
16 pitches for Justice here in the 5th. The 2-2 to Claunch. Another foul ball. Lofted back in the trees on the right side. And a great at-bat put together by the catcher from Oregon State.
This is really tough for Troy right now, though, because he fouled a couple of pitches off. Both of them fastballs. He's throwing you a lot of heaters. It's a great opportunity for Justice to go breaking ball. And if you're Troy, you got to expect fastball, react to breaking ball, but it's a lot easier said than done.
Justice trying to get out of the jam with Cruz on third, the 2-2. There is the breaking ball, and it's outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Crowd thought it was strike 3. Nice eye from Claunch, and the count full.
I think that was definitely outside.
Cotuit fans getting rowdy. Payoff pitch from Justice. Looks into Pasek and delivers. Inside, ball 4. 98 on the gun. And now 2 walks put runners on the corners with 2 down, and Austin Langworthy coming up to the plate.
Incredible at-bat by Troy Claunch. Falls behind 0-2. Got a really good pitch to hit that he fouled back. You might think to himself, that's the best one I'm going to see all at-bat. It's all downhill from here, but he stays patient, he stays angry, and he watches a couple pitches go by that are pretty close and keeps a really good eye on some real great breaking balls. Some of those were, I sitting here, I'm thinking swing at it, and then all of a sudden it breaks well below the knees. That's how good of an eye he just had.
Langworthy 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a strikeout. Pickoff move to first. Claunch is in plenty of time. 2 down and runners on the corners. Falmouth has left 5 stranded today. They left 2 stranded in the first, and then the bases juiced in the 4th. First pitch to Langworthy. Curveball for strike 1. Dropped at the belt.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot from lefties against Langworthy. Is a lot of high breaking curves that drop in the upper zone.
Langworthy, a 3rd-year Commodore and a Florida Gator. Batted .283 last year down in Gainesville. Holds up at the 0-1, but it's again a strike, dropping right at the stomach. 0-2.
And these Cotuit guys really did do their homework. Mike Roberts going to all the lefties. A lot of these guys throwing in these high breakers to Langworthy.
0-2, 2 down, 2 runners on in the 5th. High fastball, well above the eyes of Langworthy. Easy to lay off, 1-2.
Yeah, he was going for what Langworthy struck out on back in the 4th. A couple of breaking balls that he took, and then a fastball up around the letters that he swung after.
Langworthy worked a long at-bat in the 4th. Worked it full, but then struck out. Pops this one behind. Pasek flips off the mask and makes the catch. 3rd out for the Kettleers, and another 2 runners left stranded for Falmouth. No runs on no hits, no errors, 2 left on base. We'll be back for the bottom of the 5th. Still 3-1 Falmouth on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Bottom of the fifth inning, 9-1-2 due up for the Kettleers in a 3-1 Falmouth lead. Gonzalez back on the rubber. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. So, Danny, game 2 for the Commodores. It's do or die. They got to win 2 straight. What have you seen from them so far?
I think Chris Gonzalez escaping a little bit is kind of flying under the radar. We've seen some real good contact from Cotuit, even in innings where they went down 1-2-3. Mervis is fly out in the third, Schmidt's fly out in the third. Both of those were sent to the wall. Back in the fourth inning, they had a runner on second and nobody out, couldn't get him across. Chris Gonzalez is getting out of these innings. And you know what? He's coming dangerously close to allowing a couple more runs. It's still a very close game, only 3-1. This is a Cotuit team that does not quit. They're very relentless offensively, and Gonzalez really needs a dominant inning to shut them down because he's letting them sniff, a tie game too many times.
Cody Pasek takes a first pitch ball outside to the lefty catcher. He grounded out to first base back in the second inning. Advanced Shavers and Williams to third and second. He skies one into shallow right. Deloach jogs in and makes the catch, 1 down.
That's a great start. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Soft contact, easy fly out, only 2 pitches. Gonzalez can get through this 5th inning and keep Cotuit off the base paths. I think that can kind of swing momentum back in Falmouth's favor because Falmouth, they've been threatening as well.
Yeah.
But the way Cotuit's been able to get out of these innings and in front of the home crowd, that kind of, keeps them on top.
Nick Gonzalez came up with runners on second and third, 2 outs, and he struck out on a 2-2 pitch at the knees and on the outside black. He didn't like the call. It ended the inning. Swings at the first pitch breaking ball and fouls it back towards the third base dugout. 0-1 to the MVP from New Mexico State. Singled in the first, had that big strikeout in the second. 1 of 2 Ks for Gonzalez, through 4 1/3. The 0-1.
Jeez.
Into the gap in right center. Long run for Zach Deloach means extra bases for Gonzalez. He's on his horse into second base standing up. No chance for a triple, but a 1-out double for the MVP. Puts a runner in scoring position with 1 down.
It's just ridiculous, this pace that this guy is at. That's a great pitch from Gonzalez. An 81-mile-an-hour backdoor curveball on the outside corner. Gonzalez sits on it. He puts it right back where it came from. You really cannot beat this guy even when you're throwing your best stuff. I'm shocked that he was able to do that, but I shouldn't be because he's been doing that all season long. It seems like whatever you throw at Gonzalez, he has it timed perfectly, and he's making great line drive contact. He's honestly one of the best hitters I've ever seen at any level.
2 for 3 today with a single and a double. Matt Mervis at the plate. High fly ball into left field. Throws the bat back towards the dugout in disgust. Maisel has a little trouble tracking it, but he's in and throws in quickly. 2 down. Make sure that Gonzalez doesn't tag up. And Gonzalez, again, 1 out away from keeping this a 2-run lead for Falmouth.
And that was a pitch to hit, whereas Nick Gonzalez's double was still a great pitch that he was able to just barely beat the pitcher with, or not even barely, but that he was still able to beat him with. Matt Mervis really got a good pitch to hit. It was belt high, caught a chunk of the outside part of the plate, but got way under it.
Mirage Anu, 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts. 1 to the pitcher Gonzalez, 1 to Stephen Moretto at third. He swings at the first pitch and comes up empty. Nice changeup at 79 miles an hour to make it 0-1.
It's the second time we've seen Gonzalez start off anew with a changeup that dies right around the ankles.
Anu hitting just 182 in the regular season versus Falmouth. Had a 248 batting average in the regular season. He takes another changeup, this time for a ball. 1-1.
He's another one of those guys that, maybe had a lesser regular season, but really turned it on when the postseason came around.
The 1-1. Big curveball for a strike. 1-2. Chris Gonzalez
has fired 64 pitches, 40 for strikes, 24 for balls. Trying to get through his 5th inning, having allowed just 1 earned run. Gonzalez on second base with plenty of speed would score on a base hit. The 1-2.
Oh.
Hits him on the hand. Moved high and inside. Gonzalez thought he moved into it with the swing, but Anu is now on first base. Runners on second and first, 2 down.
That's brutal when it's with 2 strikes. You're going up and in with a fastball trying to tie him up, and you've got him 1-2, and you just put him on base. That's really tough to swallow for Gonzalez. At the same time, I kind of agreed with Chris. It looked like, Anu started his swing, went into it, but if you're Oraj Anu, what are you going to do? You're starting your swing, so it's kind of a lose-lose situation.
Anu, the switch hitter, was batting as a righty, and it went in and hit him on the right hand. Now Casey Schmidt, who's 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts, is up. He takes a first pitch changeup for a ball. Same pitch that Anu swung at to start his count. Schmidt lays off, and he's ahead. Pop-out victim in the first inning, fly-out victim in the third. He's got runners on first and second. Hard hit ball into left field. Maisel is tracking. It one-hops the wall. Coming in is Nick Gonzalez. Matt Mervis stops at third. And an RBI double for Casey Schmidt makes this game 3-2.
Middle of the lineup starting to finally come together for Cotuit for those 2, 3, and 4 guys. That's only their first hit of the ball game, but it's a big one, and that's exactly why the Anu hit by pitch really hurts if you're Chris Gonzalez, because you got the 3-hitter with a runner on second base, down 1 and 2. You can really go anywhere. Looked like he kind of had him fooled. He wasn't really able to get any hard contact in this game so far, 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts, and you hit him. And Casey Schmidt coming up right after him, who really hit you well in the third inning but flew out, makes no mistake this time around. He pulls the ball, puts it a little too far out of the reach of Maisel, and just like that, Cotuit has the go-ahead run on second base.
2 doubles for the Kettleers here in the 5th. They are 1 run closer to tying this game. Runner on third is Anu, not Mervis, excuse me. And Schmidt is on second after that RBI double. Colton Kessler at the plate, 1 for 1 with a single and a hit by pitch. He scored the first run of the game for Cotuit. Nick Gonzalez scored run number 2. Gonzalez from the windup to the lefty Kessler. High and in. 1-0. Kessler going to be a junior at Kentucky, 6'3", 220. Listed as a catcher, designated hitting tonight. Takes a curveball for a strike. 1-1.
Colton was 0 for 8 against the Doors in the regular season, but again, like a lot of these guys, turns it on in the postseason. He's now 3 for 5, had a pair of singles in game 1, and like you said, 1 for 1 in game 2, so he's still very dangerous as well.
The 1-1 from Gonzalez. Big curveball. This time too high. 2 balls and a strike. Anu at third base took a 1-2 fastball off his hand. He's now on third. Casey Schmidt, an RBI double to score Nick Gonzalez on the last AB. 3-2 your score in favor of Falmouth. The 2-1. Fastball, foul tipped into the mitt. 2-2. Kessler's going to take his time. Mosey's out of the batter's box. Adjusts his batter's gloves. Rings his hands around the inside part of that bat. Taps the outside part of the plate, the inside part, swings the bat around twice, 3 times, and settles in to his stance. Gonzalez looks into Clonch and delivers the 2-2. Hard hit out into center field. Dunn is moving over. He makes the catch on the run. A 1-run ball game heading into the top of the 6th inning. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, 2 runners left on base. Austin Maisel will try to get the party going. Hitters 8, 9, and 1 due up in the 6th inning for Falmouth.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. Evan Justice out for the top of the 6th inning. 8, 9, and 1 coming up for the Doors. Stephen Moretto, Austin Maisel, Hayden Cantrell. The Doors have a 1-run lead, but on the road with this rowdy Cotuit crowd, they want more, and they haven't scored since the 1st inning.
You absolutely need more, and I think the Cotuit pitching, keeping the Doors off the board when they had bases loaded, 1 out in the 4th, is crucial because they're continuing to keep the momentum on their side of things and able to claw back little by little.
First pitch to Moretto, 89 miles an hour down Broadway, 0-1. Moretto 1 for 2 today with a fly out to right in the 1st and a single in the 4th. Justice from the windup. Big curveball way outside. Pasek can't even get his glove on it. 1-1.
That's why Moretto lays off a fastball right down the middle for the first pitch he sees because he knows that Justice can be a little wild.
Justice with an 0-3 record in the regular season. The Kettleers are 0-8 in games where he pitches. The 1-1. High fly ball into shallow left. Moving in is Shavers quickly. Oviedo's back, but Shavers calls him off. 1 down.
Just too many pop flies from the Commodores hitting. Pretty much seems like that's been the case all playoffs. I know we talked about it a lot in Game 2 where they had runners on base and less than 2 outs, and they weren't even able to advance them on ground balls to the right side. They were popping out, flying out a lot, and it seems like that's kind of become the case now as, Moretto gets a good pitch to hit, just gets way under it.
Strike 1 at 93 to Austin Maisel, who is 1 for 2 himself. Lined out in the 2nd. Had a ground ball base hit into right field in the 4th. Here's a ground ball that he gets on top of. Sends it back towards the dugout's direction on the first base side, 0-2. The 0-2. Lofted into left field. Shavers is over. He makes the catch. Now 2 outs made by Parker Shavers. Nobody on base for the Doors, and Hayden Cantrell coming up to the plate.
This is huge for Justice and the Kettleers. Again, I keep saying that you quiet them down offensively, as they have been since the 1st inning. Don't give them any more room to tack on some more. And if you keep a team quiet from the 1st inning on, I don't care how many runs they scored in the 1st, you give yourself 8 more innings to come back.
One ball starts off the count to Cantrell. It skips before the plate. Cantrell started off this game with a single in the 1st inning. 1 for 2 on the day. Takes a 2nd ball, 90-mile-an-hour fastball, 2-0. Justice working quickly with those red and white cleats for his school, North Carolina State. The 2-0 is high and inside to Cantrell. 3 walks for the Cotuit pitching staff, make it 4. 2 of them have come from Evan Justice. The 3-0 to Cantrell. Way inside. It's ball 4. Cantrell flips his bat, takes off his elbow and shin guard, and will move down to first base.
Yeah, and Hayden hadn't walked in 4 straight games, and that's maybe the easiest walk he'll get all summer long. Bunch of pitches way out of the zone. Couple he had to dive out of the way of, nearly hit him. Now you got speed on the base path, 2 outs. And it's not ideal when you have 2 outs against you. If Cantrell gets on with maybe 1 out and you've got another runner on, that's huge when you're getting to the middle of your lineup. But see if the Doors, who are great 2-out scorers throughout the regular season, especially that 11-game win streak, we're scoring a ton with 2 outs. They can put something together right here that'd be big time.
This Cotuit pitching staff has struggled with the walks. 180 walks in the regular season was the 2nd most in the Cape League, behind just Hyannis, who missed the playoffs by a long shot, finished 5th in the West Division. Justice has issued 2 walks, now 3 with the one to Cantrell. Blake Dunn, who had a long fly out to deep center field with the bases loaded and 2 down in the 4th, is up for his 3rd at-bat. Ball skips in the dirt. Nice stop by Pasek. 5 straight balls now from Evan Justice. Justice is working from the stretch. Cantrell on first. He was 2nd in the Cape League in stolen bases this summer with 19. Ground ball, third base side, but it hops foul. Fielded by Schmidt, out of play. Count 1-1.
Dunn's putting together great swings in this ball game. That fly out to center field, like you were mentioning, was as deep as you can get in this ballpark. He's putting together great swings all playoff, really. Just under 300 on his batting average.
1-1 will have to wait as Justice throws down to first. The 1-1, way outside. Again, a nice stop by Pasek on a pitch that was probably 3 feet off the plate. 2-1. Cantrell worked a 2-out walk. Justice shakes off Pasek twice, settles in the stretch with his glove at his chest. Brings that right leg back after a long pause and delivers. Strike number 2. Makes it 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And although, you know, it's always good for the hitter seeing a pitcher that's wild like this, when he does come over the zone and throws a pitch like that, perfectly paints the outside corner, that's when it becomes so difficult and you don't know what to expect.
The 2-2 with 2 outs. Cantrell is going. Ground ball over towards Gonzalez. He'll throw on to first for out number 3. Gonzalez was running towards second base to catch Cantrell and found himself perfectly positioned for the ground ball. Chris Gonzalez's day is done. That means Aiden Maldonado, one of the most lockdown relievers on the Cape, is coming in for the bottom of the 6th. Still 3-2 Falmouth on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. Aiden Maldonado, the hard-throwing righty from Illinois, comes in a 1-run ball game here in the bottom of the 6th. Danny, this is a huge spot.
Yeah, there's still 4 more innings to go, assuming that Falmouth has this 1-run lead. So you're really calling on your bullpen to do some wonders against a Cotuit team that absolutely rakes. But Maldonado is probably your best asset to come in middle relief. Had a 2-1 record on the summer, 3.11 ERA through his 10 appearances, racked up a couple saves, and his strikeouts, 30 Ks in 17 and a third innings of work. He saw an appearance in that loss at Bourne in Game 2 of the Western Division semifinal. In an inning and a third, he did allow 2 hits, did not allow a run, walked nobody, and struck out 2. And the last time he pitched in the regular season against the Cotuit Kettleers, the only time he faced the Kettleers, was on July 30th, threw 2 innings, allowed 3 hits, did not allow a run.
Huge spot for Maldonado, whereas number 41 for the Doors will go up against Shavers, Oviedo, and Williams. First pitch swinging is Shavers. Fly ball on the shallow outfield. Cruz backtracking, makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 down here in the bottom of the 6th.
Good start We've seen Cotuit do that a number of times. Swing first pitch, they go down, and all of a sudden the next couple of guys put together great at-bats. There's really no weak spot in this entire lineup 1 through 9.
Adam Oviedo, a ground-out victim to third base twice, will get his first chance against Maldonado. Takes a first pitch curveball for a strike, 0-1. Maldonado's stuff has been lethal. He's pitched against Cotuit a couple times as well. Went against the Kettleers on July 30th in that 6-4 win. 2 innings of work, gave up an unearned run. Hit 98 on the gun, but he said that was not the right speed. Big slider makes Oviedo look foolish on the half swing. It's 0-2. On deck is Dante Williams. Kettleers still trail by just 1 run. Game 2, all it's been cracked up to be. A 3-2 ball game here in the bottom of the 6th. The 0-2. Off speed with sharp break, but Oviedo lays off.
Yeah, that was a great pitch. Good job by Oviedo to not go after it. I mean, it broke right onto the plate, so it's low the whole way, but still, with the movement it had, it looks like it's going to come in around your knees.
Oviedo did a solid job against Falmouth in the regular season, batting .294 against the Commodores with 2 doubles and 5 RBIs. He had 2 RBIs in Game 1 of the Western Division Final back on Monday. Facing a 1-2 count to Maldonado. High fly ball, deep center field. Dunn has a read on it, swivels back, and makes the catch about 10 feet in front of the wall. 2 down.
So much hard contact from Cotuit. I mean, how many fly balls have we seen? You probably can't even count it on one hand that have been rockets off the bat and have died out there in the outfield just before the fence. So Cotuit really testing some of these outfielders.
Chris Gonzalez went the first 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, walked 1, and struck out 2. That's a pretty solid line for his first playoff start. Falmouth again with a very fresh bullpen, as Mike Landry talked about in the pregame show. First pitch fastball downstairs to Dante Williams. They threw Luke Sutko, Bradley Littleton, and Sean Mullen in Game 1 against Cotuit. The 3 of them combined to allow just 1 earned run. So they have guys like Maldonado, Logan Hoffman, the All-Star, Caleb Worster, and Sam Weatherly fresh and ready to go. The 1-0 is a strike on the outside part of the plate, 1-1.
On the flip side of things, think about how many Kettleer arms are ready to go, because they won Game 2, 22-2, didn't have to waste too many. And in Game 1 of the Western Division Final against the Doors, they had Holland go, 7 innings?
6 innings, yeah.
6 innings, yeah.
Bo Hofstra from Purdue shut the Doors out in the final 3.
They've got plenty of well-rested arms, just like the Doors.
Especially because both teams had that rain out yesterday. Maldonado with Claunch setting up on the outside part of the plate, spikes it in the dirt. A fastball at 94 makes the count 2-1. Kettleers have gone down 1-2-3 in just 1 inning. That was back in the 3rd, and it was the meat of the order. Mervis, Anu, and Schmidt. Ever since, they've played it at least 4 batters. 2 down, nobody on, and a 2-1 count to Williams. Fastball, slapped in the air in the infield. Moretto is there. He calls for it, moves over to his left, and makes the catch. 6, 7, and 8 go down in order. Aiden Maldonado's first inning of work here in game number 2 of the Western Division Final is perfect. Deloach, Cruz, and Coots coming up in the 7th. Doors want some insurance on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. They're riding a 3-2 lead.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Deloach, Cruz, Coots. Top of the 7th coming up here on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. A 1-run lead for Falmouth. And the final 3 innings coming up. Danny, buckle up. Anyone listening, buckle up. It's going to be suspenseful. It's going to probably come down to the wire between these two bitter rivals. Falmouth has to win to keep this series going.
And I think they have to score in this inning if they want a chance to hold Cotuit, keep them at bay, and retain this lead. You're not going to win this ball game by 1 run, and you've got the heart of the order coming up in a crucial point. You need a run here.
Justice out for his 3rd inning of work. Fires a 77-mile-an-hour curveball on the inside part of the plate. He, like Gonzalez, both left-handers, painting the inside part of the plate to lefties. Pasek sets up outside. Deloach swings and flies it on the infield. Schmidt moves over. Oviedo calls him off and makes the catch. 1 up, 1 down, and the batting champion is put down on just 2 pitches.
And again, another pop-up. It's like just so many pop-outs, and the ground balls they've had have been slow rollers to Nick Gonzalez at second. They're really not, causing much room for error. I mean, they're not really allowing Cotuit to make any errors. It's really just easy ground balls, pop-outs. The only out I can think of that was even close to getting down was Blake Dunn's fly ball in this 4th.
Ball 1 misses low and away to Trey Cruz. Pop-out victim twice, walked in the 5th. To this man, Evan Justice. The 1-0. Grounded on the left side, fielded by Schmidt, who throws on to first. 4 pitches, 2 outs. Jackson Coots coming up.
Got to watch more pitches from Justice. He's so wild that even if you're watching at a first pitch strike, second pitch strike, he's not going to, pepper too many over the zone. Got to see some more pitches from him, try to see if he can work a mistake.
Jackson Coots is 0 for 2 today with a walk in the 1st, a fly out in the 3rd, a ground out in the 5th. Swings at the first pitch. It's down the line in left field, but Shavers moves over and makes the catch. 5 pitches, 3 outs. Hitters 9, 1, and 2. Cody Pasek, MVP Nick Gonzalez, and Matt Mervis coming up in the bottom half of the 7th. Still 1-run lead for Falmouth, 3-2 on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. Aiden Maldonado out for his 2nd inning of work to relieve Chris Gonzalez, who made his first start of the playoffs and was very solid. We bring in the 3rd member of our crew, Katie Florio, for more on that. Katie.
Thanks, David, and what an outing by Chris Gonzalez to not only keep his team in the game, but keep Falmouth's season alive. I just talked to him when he came out of the game, and he said he was really trying to locate with the fastball. He was working infrequently to try to get jam shots as well. He also did a good job of getting out of some jams. He told me some guys got on base because he missed some spots, so that's when he really tried to buckle down and locate. He said he felt good. His ball was running, and his off speed was working as well, so definitely did all that we could have asked from him.
No question about it. Chris Gonzalez put Falmouth in the lead and shut the Kettleers down to just 2 earned runs in the first 5 innings of this ball game. Danny, if the score stays the same, he will get the win, but that's a big if with this Cotuit lineup.
Yeah, I I just don't see it. I don't see the score remaining the same, especially after Cotuit's game 1 against Wareham, where Wareham put up 6 runs in the first, and Cotuit still was able to tie it and push it to extra innings.
Aiden Maldonado, ball 1 outside to Cody Pasek. Pasek 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a fly out. On deck, Nick Gonzalez, who's 2 for 3 with a run scored. The 0-1, way outside, 2-0. Pasek, an all-star, who homered in the all-star game out at Eldridge Park on July 21st. He's going to be a senior at Maine. 6 foot, 195, lefty. Bats as a lefty, throws as a righty. Ball number 3 misses outside, 3-0.
Aiden's just missing by a little bit. These are definitely balls, but he's not missing by much. Credit Pasek being very patient.
250 hitter his junior year out at Maine. 8 doubles, 20 RBIs. He was 4th on the team in batting average. He's got a 3-0 count from Aiden Maldonado, who delivers across the middle for strike 1. 3-1. Maldonado with that 3.11 ERA in the regular season. Top 5 in the Cape League in strikeouts per 9 innings. He had 30 Ks in 17 and a third innings of work. Ball 4 misses outside. It's a 5-pitch walk to start off the bottom of the 7th. Pasek is aboard, and Gonzalez comes up to the plate.
And that's a real poor start. You've got the 9-hitter at the plate, and he's not like most teams' 9-hitters. He's still very solid. He was batting .333 entering this ball game in the postseason. But you can't walk him on 5 pitches and then give the MVP and the rest of this order a runner on to work with and nobody out. Because, I mean, really, 1 through 4, even 5, if you're looking down as far as Kessler, who's been red hot against the Commodores, 1 through 5 can all do damage against you.
Mike Landry will come out to the bump and go to the bullpen. After a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the 7th, Aiden Maldonado's afternoon is done. We will step aside as the Commodores head to another reliever. We'll be back after this on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves. The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Logan Hoffman, the all-star reliever for the Falmouth Commodores, comes in for Aiden Maldonado. And again, a big spot in a one-run ball game with a winner-go-home situation.
Going to your best reliever who's not a closer, Logan Hoffman. He was effectively the closer on August 4th at Game 3 against Bourne. It was an 8-2 victory for Falmouth, but when he came into the ball game, it was within 3 runs. So over his 2 innings of work, he allowed only 1 hit and racked up a save on 2 Ks. And all-star for good reason. 3-0 record, 3.37 ERA throughout the summer, 22 Ks and 16 innings of work, and only 1 outing in which he allowed more than 1 run. That was July 29th, his final of the regular season. Really his only poor outing of the entire summer. 2 2/3 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 5 hits as well, and 2 strikeouts. So that was the one bugaboo he had against Hyannis. Otherwise, only 3 other outings in which he even allowed a run.
Yeah, those 3 earned runs against Hyannis were in his only start of the summer. Gave up those 5 hits that my partner mentioned, walked none and struck out 2. He also got that save in the playoffs, his only save of the summer, regular season or playoffs combined. He's got no time to adjust as Nick Gonzalez, the MVP of the league, is the first batter he'll face. Cody Pasek started this inning off with a walk. He was then pinch run 4. So Pasek's day is done. Hoffman working from the stretch. Right-hander who will be at Northwestern State next year, misses with a curveball. Dropped by Clonch, moves out to his left, but staying put at first base. It is a packed Lowell Park here in Cotuit. Hometown Kettleers trail by just 1, trying to change that here in the 7th. Nick Gonzalez 2 for 3 today with a single, a double, a run scored, and a strikeout. Hoffman with that glove at the belt, tries a pickoff move, flashes over to first base. Not in time.
Pinch runner over at first base is Cam Hill, and he's got plenty of speed. Racked up 11 stolen bases throughout the regular season, by far the most on the team.
Hill, another Kentucky Wildcat, along with Colton Kessler and Araj Anu. 1-0 the count to Gonzalez. Fastball just below the knees. 2-0.
Hoffman's pitching very carefully to Gonzalez right now, breaking up his pitches a lot, trying to paint the corners. He's definitely a control guy, but Gonzalez has such a great eye. This is really, really difficult situation for Logan to step into.
Looks into Troy Clonch, the catcher from Oregon State. Squints his eyes with that hat blocking him from the sunlight. The 2-0. High and in, ball 3. 8 pitchers fired by the Commodores pitching staff here in the 7th. Only 1 strike. Adam Maldonado walked the leadoff man Cody Pasek on just 5 pitches and then was pulled for Hoffman. Hoffman had just 7 walks in the regular season. None in the playoffs. The 3-0. Fastball right down the middle for a strike, 3-1. Doesn't let up with Matt Mervis on deck. He has 5 RBIs these playoffs. Araj Anu with 5 of his own up after Mervis.
And both those guys lefties. Anu a switch hitter, so he can bat lefty against the righty Hoffman.
The 3-1. Foul ball back into the trees on the right side. And all of a sudden a full count. 89-mile-an-hour fastball from Hoffman.
Even his foul balls jump off the bat.
Yeah.
I mean, that one put into fair play can really split a gap. This guy is just so ridiculous to watch.
Gonzalez with that 13-game hitting streak spanning back into the regular season. He's batted .304 against Falmouth in the regular season, .382 against lefties. The Hoffman and Maldonado duo are a couple of righties after Gonzalez, Chris Gonzalez that is, started off this game for the Commodores. Hoffman looks in for the payoff sign. Agrees, brings the glove to his belt, lifts his left leg and delivers. High fly ball, deep center field. Dunn is at the wall. This ball is gone. Nick Gonzalez goes yard and the Kettleers lead. 4-3 Cotuit.
There's literally just nothing you could do against this guy. You throw 3 pitches to him to start off the AB that all miss by an inch or so, each time, and he lays off of them, and then you have to come up to him over the plate. And I said it against Gonzalez, or against Chris Gonzalez his last time up when Nick doubled off of him in the 5th inning. It was a beautiful backdoor curveball that he was able to take right back where it came from, put into the gap in right center field. This time, Hoffman leaves a pitch a little bit over the plate and at the belt, and Gonzalez hits it to dead center. This guy is by far one of the greatest players I've ever seen play the game of baseball.
Matt Mervis watches a first pitch ball. Cotuit has their first lead of the night. 4-3 Kettleers. That one was to the deepest part of the park out in center. Blake Dunn climbed the wall, tried to make the catch, but just no chance. 397 to dead center. That one was hit probably 405 feet. Second ball misses outside to Mervis, 2-0. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th.
You just got to attack the strike zone right now if you're Hoffman. There's nobody on base. Just try to get Mervis to swing at some.
A 2-0. Curveball outside, 3-0. Doors now on the ropes. 6 outs away from their season ending, but Cotuit wants more here in the 7th. A 3-0 strike. So now all 3 batters who've come up to the plate for Cotuit have started off 3-0 from either Maldonado or Hoffman, taken a 3-0 strike down the middle. And still nobody's been retired here in the bottom half of the 7th inning, the 3-1. Pop-up, stays on the infield. Cruz calls for it, waves off Moretto, and makes the catch, 1 down. Arajanu 0 for 2 today with 2 groundouts and a hit by pitch. Comes up here in the 7th inning. You talked about it when it happened, Danny, but that hit by pitch was huge.
Yeah. And it's a tough one to swallow for Gonzalez because he did everything right, came a little too far over the plate. Anu is a guy who steps real close to the inside part of the plate and kind of leaned into it because he was starting his swing, so he couldn't have avoided it. But if you're Gonzalez, you just barely nicked him.
12-6 curveball drops in at the belt to Anu, 0-1. Gonzalez's first home run of the postseason was massive. Came on a 3-2 count against Logan Hoffman, the all-star reliever from Northwestern State. As you said, he took 3 close balls, watched 2 strikes, and took the payoff pitch yard to the deepest part of Lowell Park. Hoffman retired the next batter. Now he's got a 1-1 count to Anu. Swing and a miss on the off-speed. Looked like a changeup, 1-2.
And again, like I said, what are you going to do if you're Logan Hoffman? You got to face Nick Gonzalez with a runner on first and nobody out. The guy's now 3 for 4, a single, a double, a home run. He is insane.
Triple away from the cycle. But I'm sure that's the last thing on his mind here as the Cotuit Kettleers can sniff the CCBL championship.
And I would hate to be Harwich or YD to come face this team if the score remains the same. Cotuit is a team on a mission.
2-2 to Anu. Big curveball high and away. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Every batter for Cotuit has seen 3 balls. Falmouth trying to limit the damage to just 2 runs here in the bottom of the 7th. Keep this game within reach, the 3-2. Swung on a miss, strike 3. Big K for Logan Hoffman, 2 down.
Yeah, biggest key right now for Hoffman and right now for the pitching staff for Falmouth is just keep runners off base. You're down a run, so not anticipating anybody to hit solo home runs, but the moment those guys get on base is you start to get back in your own head, start to be really careful, and Cotuit just mashes with guys on base. So the more you can get these guys, I know it's been a lot of 3-ball counts, but if you got to play around that area just to work it deep and get them down, that's what you got to do.
Here's Casey Schmidt. Had a big RBI double in the 5th inning to score Nick Gonzalez. Takes a first pitch strike, which is a welcome sign for Falmouth fans, who are going to have to dig deep here in the final couple innings. They trail Cotuit by 1 run. Hoffman shakes off Claunch. Fires a second pitch curveball right on the outside part of the plate, 0-2. Hoffman with some heavy breaths. He's got that glove in front of his mouth, agrees on a sign. The 0-2 to Schmidt. Curveball, high fly ball into deep left field. Maisel is at the wall. He will make the catch. Doors fans held their breath on that ball, which nearly snuck out of here off the bat of Schmidt. Cotuit takes the lead. The MVP goes to work and does what he does best. Gives a clutch hit to the Kettleers, who take a 4-3 lead. 2 runs on just 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on base. Falmouth is going to have to come from behind for the first time in this game. It's 4-3 Cotuit with 6 outs to go.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Cotuit, Mike Roberts, Nick Gonzalez, and the whole squad is 6 outs away from a CCBL championship appearance. Falmouth is going to have to dig deep here in the 8th and the 9th, but they'll have to go against a new pitcher, the first right-hander that they've seen in game number 2, and Kyle Nicholas.
Kyle Nicholas, a 1-2 record, 6.28 ERA throughout his 12 appearances, racked up 4 saves for Cotuit. Might be called on to get a 6-out save right here. Not sure what Roberts' agenda is. But he's definitely a big strikeout pitcher, 24 and a third innings of work, 31 Ks. The Doors have seen him twice. July 30th, right here at Lowell Park, it was a 6-4 win for Falmouth, and Nicholas got the loss. An inning and 2/3, he allowed 1 earned run on 1 hit, 2 walks, and 3 Ks. They saw him on July 10th. He was much better in that outing, 3 innings of work, didn't allow a run, only allowed 2 hits, got the save, and struck out 4. So we'll see which Nicholas approaches the Doors today. And of note, his last 3 appearances, he's all been tagged with the loss. Most recently at Wareham in game number 1, he got walked off on. So the Doors hoping that they can make it 4 in a row of L's for Nicholas.
He's got that big frame, looks like a football player, 6'3", 205. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore at Ball State next year. Had a 5.40 ERA his freshman season. First pitch is to Troy Clonch. High fly ball into shallow right center. Diving, Williams, did he make the catch? Yes, he did.
Oh my goodness.
Dante Williams has robbed the Commodores of 2 hits. 1 of extra bases for Blake Dunn back in the 4th, and then Clonch of a leadoff single.
Cotuit is not losing this baseball game. They are just pulling off just rabbits out of a hat right now. The home run from Gonzalez on 3-2. And to go 3 for 4. Dante Williams now with a diving catch that had everything about that ball should have said it lands in front of his glove. The catch he made over his shoulder on Blake Dunn, which could have scored 3 runs. Just Cotuit is making no mistakes ever since the first inning. They are playing unreal right now.
Langworthy with a big swing and a miss to start off his count. 0-1. Clonch nearly made it 3 for 3, but Williams had other ideas. Had a huge run into shallow right center and made the catch. Strike number 2 right down the pipe at 92 miles an hour, 0-2 to Langworthy. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 94 mile an hour heater. And the Kettleers are working quickly here in the 8th.
As much as the Commodores looked unbeatable late in the season, their 11-game winning streak, the way they looked all regular season, being the top team on the Cape, Cotuit is not looking like a 500 ball club right now. They were 20-20-4 to end the regular season, and right now they are just ridiculous. I mean, even in game 1 against Wareham, when they fell behind 6-0, to push that to extra innings is something else.
Broken bat back towards Gonzalez would be a tough play. Fields it with his glove, throw on to first. In time. Got Steven Moretto. Top of inning number 7 was 5 pitches and 3 outs. How about 5 pitches and 3 outs in the 8th? 6 outs on 10 pitches. Cotuit pitching has been unreal, and they got a 4-3 lead. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. Colton Kessler, Parker Shavers, Adam Oviedo. Starting things off here in the bottom of the 8th. Cotuit now leads 4-3 after a 2-run bomb from Nick Gonzalez in the bottom of the 7th. Put the Kettleers up for the first time in this ballgame. Logan Hoffman still on the bump. He'll go up against hitters 5, 6, and 7 for Cotuit. First pitch below the knee is 1-0.
It's got to be a quick inning from Hoffman. Don't give Cotuit any more breathing room. Limit this to 1. I know their pitching has been so great, but just try to get your batters right back up to the plate and get something going.
Fastball skied into shallow center. Dunn's got a read on it, so does Maisel. It's in left center, and the left fielder will make the catch. 1 down. Parker Shavers 1 for 3 on the day. A single, a fly out, a pop fly. Trying to add some more for Cotuit, who lead by 1. Hoffman delivers. 86 mile an hour on the outside part of the plate for a strike. High fly ball into deep right field. Deloach can just watch it. If it's fair, it's gone, and it's fair. Parker Shavers solo shot, 5-3 Cotuit.
Logan Hoffman making just a couple mistakes. Looks like the doors, at least Hoffman and a little bit for Falmouth, the dugout in general, just kind of looks out of this ball game right now. Once you give Cotuit the lead, they're not going to let it up. Their pitching has been too sound. Their hitting has been unbelievable. Again, this is just a team on a mission right now. As much as we've talked about the Doors being a very special team in 2019, and none of these guys wanting to leave, all of these guys being passionate about wearing that maroon and black and the Falmouth across their chest, this Cotuit team just looks like a totally different animal than we saw 44 games throughout the regular season.
Mike Landry will go to the pen after Hoffman gives up a couple of home runs. We'll be back after the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Doors now trail by 2 after the solo shot from Parker Shavers. And Christian Edwards gets the call. He's now the 4th pitcher of the night for Falmouth.
Doors going back to a righty. Edwards, a recent addition, late in the season, came on his first appearance on July 26th at Orleans. Threw 2 innings of hitless baseball. July 29th at Hyannis, got the win in a 9-5 victory. Threw 2 innings, only 1 hit. And then Bourne on August 3rd in the loss out at Durant Park. 1 inning of work, allowed 1 hit, a walk and a K. He's a guy who has not allowed an earned run at all throughout this entire summer. Only has appeared in 3 games, like I mentioned, 5 innings of work in total, but real good stuff, 9 Ks, 2 walks, only 2 hits allowed. Real good guy to go to in this moment, and as of right now, you've got nobody on base. You got the bottom of the order coming up for Cotuit, so you just got to trust your stuff and look for swings.
Sun peeking out of the clouds on the left side of Lowell Park. Cotuit bleachers are filled, and they're happy. Doors once led this game 3-0 after the top of the first inning. Cotuit added 1 in the second to make it 3-1. Then in the 5th, an RBI double from Casey Schmidt scored Nick Gonzalez to make it 3-2. In the 7th, Pasek started off the inning with a walk, and then a 2-run bomb from Nick Gonzalez off of Logan Hoffman gave Cotuit the lead. They added 1 more on the solo shot from Parker Shavers right before this call to the bullpen. Pitch number 1 from Edwards misses outside to Oviedo, who's 0 for 3 today. 2 groundouts to third base and a fly out to center. 1-0 the count. Right-hander delivers, swung on, fouled back off the head of the bat, 1-1.
Edwards, a very effective relief pitcher at Jacksonville State, led the team in saves. He was a great late addition for Falmouth. They were able to ride him in some pretty close games, kind of threw him right into the fire, and he didn't blink.
1-1 count, 1 out. No runners on. Cotuit now leads Falmouth in runs, 5-3, and in hits, 7-6. Curveball doesn't break. It sails almost above the glove of Troy Clonch, 2-1. Falmouth hasn't had a hit since the 4th inning. They had 3 hits in the first, 3 hits in the 4th. Doors had the bases loaded with 1 out in the 4th inning. Hayden Cantrell struck out. Blake Dunn put one about 400 feet, but a sliding, diving catch crashing into the wall from Dante Williams kept the score 3-1. Another pitch fouled back from Oviedo, 2-2.
For me, that catch kind of changes the tide of the game. Cotuit doesn't immediately take the lead after that. Still took them a couple of innings, but just to keep the Doors off the board, that could have, that could have been 6-0.
I think it would have been 6-1.
6-1,
because if that ball drops out in deep center and Williams had fallen down, everyone's scoring. 2-2 from Edwards, spiked in the dirt, 3-2.
And as great as the Kettleers have been in the playoffs at coming back, at great as they are offensively, I think 6-1 Doors kind of get some swagger back in them. Gonzalez has some confidence under him, and they can start pouring on some more runs. But when they get that robbed from them, it's still a very close game, and it gives Cotuit some room.
Full count to Oviedo, still looking for his first hit today. Payoff pitch, swung on and fouled back. Kettleers have added 3 runs in the past inning and a third to come storming back from a 3-2 deficit to take a 5-3 lead. Edwards looks into Clonch. Oviedo swings that bat around a couple times, adjusts his helmet. Settles in his batting stance. Edwards from the stretch. Delivers. Line drive right at Cruz. Snatched out of the air. Out number 2. Hard line out right to Trey Cruz. 2 down.
I like that approach from Edwards. He attacks him with a fastball down at the knees. Oviedo turns on it, hits it real nicely. But when it's down around in that location, there's not much you can do with it unless you get a real good uppercut going. And it goes right at Cruz. You can snag it out of right out of midair.
Cotuit Kettleers fans have been paying attention. They know the man stepping up to the plate has saved them maybe this ball game. Made that sliding catch out in center against Blake Dunn with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Made a diving catch to start off the top of the 8th off of the bat of Troy Clonch. Edwards delivers to Williams, skips it in the dirt. 1-0.
Yeah, Dante Williams might be hitless, and he can go hitless in this at-bat too and end the inning, but he definitely seems to be the player of the game. I know Gonzalez 3 for 4 with that go-ahead home run. That's huge, and he's going to go down as it, but Williams going to be the unsung hero for those great plays made out in center.
He's got a 1-0 count to work with. Swinging a foul ball, 1-1. Falmouth will have a chance in the top of the 9th. It'll be Maisel, if he's still in there. Cantrell and Dunn, hitters 9, 1, and 2, due up for the doors in the 9th inning. If Falmouth can push this to Game 3, they got Carmen Majinski from South Carolina waiting to start off the do-or-die game at home. Off speed, laid off by Williams, 2-1. That's a big if, though. They still trail by 2. Mike Roberts most recently won a Cape Cod League championship in 2013 with the Kettleers. Won another in 2010. Roberts, like Trundy, a very long tenured coach, has strike 2, pounds the outside part of the plate. Those 2 championships, 2 of 16 for the Kettleers. 14 of them coming in the modern era from 1963 to today. Back in 2012, Roberts' squad had a 30-14 record. That was his best regular season on the Cape League. Ball 3 misses just outside. The infield was heading to the dugout, thought it was strike 3. Roberts also 21 years as the head coach at UNC Chapel Hill. 9 NCAA postseason tournament appearances and 2 College World Series appearances. 3 outs away from taking his team back to the CCBL Championship Series. The 3-2 to Williams. High fly ball. Should be shallow left field. Cruz moves back, and he makes the catch. Rudy Fernbach, the home plate umpire, gives Troy Clonch a pat on the back. This game is not over, as Cotuit still has 3 outs to get before they are crowned the Western Division champions. Standing in their way, Austin Maisel, Hayden Cantrell, and Blake Dunn, 9, 1, and 2. Last chance on the 2019 summer for the Falmouth Commodores.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Maisel, 1 for 3. Cantrell, 1 for 3. Dunn, 0 for 3 with a long fly out to deep center.
coming up here for the Doors in the ninth. To quote a great broadcaster who I've worked with before, these guys are due, and they still have a chance here in the ninth inning.
Gave me chills. They're due. What can you say? To quote Eric Bakich, the head coach at Michigan, who took his team on an improbable run into the College World Series final against Vanderbilt, came up just a little short. Play like you don't want it to end. Play like you don't want to say goodbye.
Strike one to Austin Maisel on the outside black. Nicholas is on the bump. He's fired 6 pitches, all of them strikes. Unbelievable work from the Cotuit pitching staff these past 2 innings as ball 1 misses inside. 5 pitches in the 7th from Justice, 6th in the 8th from Nicholas. This is the 4th pitcher of the game for Cotuit. Holcomb went 3 2/3. Justice went 3. Nicholas has gone 1. Misses inside, 2-1 to Maisel. Nicholas swipes the rubber with his left foot, settles in the windup. He's got that glove in front of his chest and delivers. High and outside, can't be squeezed by Donlin. We missed him as a defensive substitution in the 8th. Matthew Donlin from Stonehill. He came in for Pasek after Pasek was pinch run 4 in the 7th inning. 3-1 to Maisel. Swing and a foul ball, 3-2.
Potentially ball 4, one of those that's just below the knees. Maisel making no mistake, though. He's thinking that if it's close, got to go after it. Don't want to be, watching pitches go by.
Full count. Nicholas from the windup. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 89 on the gun, 1 down.
Yeah, that reads 89, but it honestly looked like 96. That was a crazy fast heater right over the heart of the plate. It was 3-2 against Maisel, and he said, whatever, I'm going to go after him, and Austin couldn't catch up.
Hayden Cantrell, the switch hitter, trying to keep this game going for Falmouth. 1 down in the top of the 9th. Down the right field line, a base hit. It's in and a long run for Anu. Cantrell loses the helmet, jogs into second base with a stand-up double. Runner in scoring position, 1 down for Blake Dunn.
Doors have life. Doors fans have life. You heard them a little bit cheering along this first base side. That was a great piece of hitting by Cantrell. Gets an inside fastball that he likes, turns on it, and he's now on second base. You've got speed on the base paths. You've got Dunn at the plate. Deloach right behind him. Obviously not looking for a home run, but the tying run is at the dish. But if you're Blake Dunn, just staying patient, getting your pitch, and just trying to get a base hit.
Blake Dunn is 0 for 3. He could be 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Swings at the first pitch slider and comes up empty, 0-1. Walked and scored in the first, flew out to right in the second. Long fly out to deep center in the 4th that we've talked about a lot, and rightfully so. The bases were loaded with 2 down, and he put a ride into it. Dante Williams made a better catch. Skips in the dirt. Nice block by Donlin to keep Cantrell at second base. 1-1.
Going to need that great Blake Dunn against the Kettleers you had during the regular season. He's 0 for in this series, but was batting over 400 against Cotuit through the 6 games he played against them.
The 1-1 from Nicholas. High and in at 93 on the gun. 2-1. Nicholas, like many of the Cotuit pitchers, did struggle with walks in the regular season. 24 1/3 innings with 21 walks, but his strikeouts were even better at 31. He's got a 2-1 count. He looks back to Cantrell at second and delivers. High fly ball, foul, out of play on the right side, 2-2.
He's got the same confidence even after the Cantrell double. Still throwing a lot of good pitches, breaking up speeds very well and hitting his spots.
Applause raining down from the third base side with 2 strikes to Dunn. The 2-2. Broken bat, flare shot. Gonzalez snatches it, 2 down. Zach Deloach is up with 2 outs and a runner on second base. If he's out, the Commodores' season is over.
And that stinks for Dunn. If that bat doesn't break, that's a base hit in the center field. Cantrell might be rounding third and coming home.
Zach Deloach went toe-to-toe with Nick Gonzalez in the final 3 games of the regular season for the Batting League Championship. And Deloach finished with an average 2 points better than that of Gonzalez.
First pitch, outside, 1-0. Gonzalez has Deloach's number in this game. The MVP is 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored and a 2-run bomb. Deloach, 1 for 4 with a run and a single, 2 groundouts and a pop fly. Deloach is trying to change all that. The 0-1. The 1-0, excuse me, misses outside, 2-0. Cruz is on deck if they can get it to him. Meat of the order here for Falmouth with 2 down and their season on the line. Falmouth needs to pull out a comeback today and win tomorrow to try to win it for Trundy in his 21st season at the helm in Falmouth. The 2-0. High and outside, 3-0.
I think Nicholas is trying to pitch around Deloach right now.
Donlan's going to call for time and come out to Nicholas.
I don't think he necessarily is, but it's not a bad route either, because Trey Cruz has not really had the same success he had during the regular season in this ball game. Hasn't put together too many great swings, and when you're a righty going up against the lefty Deloach, who is, you know, objectively the best hitter on the Cape, it's always a risk.
Donlan jogged out to talk to Nicholas, who's working from the stretch. A 3-0 count to Zach Deloach. Thought about it, doesn't swing. It's a strike down the middle, 3-1. Oviedo behind Cantrell, covering second base. Gonzalez at second at normal depth. Mervis at first, same thing, the 3-1. Swung on and missed, strike 2. Commodores are down to their final strike in the 2019 summer. Zach Deloach takes his time, readjusts the batting gloves as the Cotuit fans get out of their seats and on their feet. Applause starting to roar here in Cotuit. They want it to roar even louder. The 3-2. Downstairs, ball 4. Deloach works a walk, and the Doors still have life. Leading run comes up to the plate in Trey Cruz.
Man, that one was kind of crazy close if you think about it. It wasn't a close pitch by any stretch, but the fact that on a 3-2, your season on the line, you're able to lay off when it's right around the ankles. Yeah. I've seen so many guys swing through pitches like that, and somehow Zach's able to take it. His vision is unreal, and that's only his first walk in his last 7 games. He only had 1 walk in 12 games, in a 12-game block, so he's not a guy who walks a lot.
Trey Cruz 0 for 3 today. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it back, 0-1. Cruz, a switch hitter, batting as a lefty for just the first time today. He's faced only lefties until now, the righty, Kyle Nicholas.
Cruz, another guy who's red hot against Cotuit, .471 average during the regular season.
The 0-1. He lays off upstairs, appeal down to third. Didn't go around. Cruz batting .286 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Wants to be batting 1,000 with the season on the line. Nicholas looks back to Cantrell at second, the 1-1. Just outside, 2-1. Couple guts he takes from the Doors, and Cruz has a hitter's count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Doors, 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors. Cotuit, 5 runs on 7 hits, no errors of their own. Nicholas trying to end this season. Falmouth trying to push it to game 3. The 2-1. Foul ball, back out of play, left side, 2-2.
Great pitch to hit. Went down the middle with it, 95. Tried just a little late.
Nicholas up to 27 pitches. 16 strikes, 11 balls. He's pitched an inning and 2/3, wants 2 even. Without an earned run tabbed against him.
Trey got a lot in his hands. Stranger things have happened.
Lifts his left leg and delivers. Foul ball down the left field line. Great contact, just a little late again. Still 2-2. Cruz had a 3-run bomb to give Falmouth a commanding lead in Game 3 against Bourne. 1 home run in the playoffs, 3 in the regular season. 2-2, 2 runners on and 2 outs. Fly ball into shallow right field. Anu is back, and he makes the catch. The Cotuit Kettleers
have won the Western Division Championship, and Falmouth loses yet another playoff run in heartbreaking fashion. 5-3, your final score.
Tough for the Doors. Back-to-back years where they get swept out of the Western Division final. Back-to-back years where they're a red-hot team, where they're motivated. No one wants to be here as much as this team in 18 and in 19. And then again, they just come up a little bit empty to a team that is playing outstanding baseball.
Falmouth played about a 9 out of 10. Cotuit was a perfect 10 out of 10. The winning pitcher is Evan Justice. The losing pitcher is Logan Hoffman. And Danny, I want to do a quick recap of this game before we move on to bigger and better things. Again, Cotuit just played out of their minds and were nearly perfect in a game that they needed to win to move on.
Yeah, nobody committed any errors. Everybody was making the plays in the field. And Cotuit's place in the field, you look at Dante Williams coming up huge multiple times, couple diving catches that saved a hit, and in one case saved a couple of runs. We'll start off in the first inning. Falmouth jumps on the board early. That was what I said. That was the MO of this game. If you can jump all over the Cotuit pitching early, then you're good to go. Just get confidence, bring this to a game 3. They score 3 runs on 3 hits in the first, but you know that that's not going to be enough against a Cotuit team that went down 6-0 against Wareham in Series 1 and were still able to push it into extra innings. And then the Doors kind of fell quiet offensively. They're able to load the bases on 3 hits in the 4th inning, and through no mistake of their own, strand all 3 runners on base. Cantrell struck out with 1 out. Blake Dunn hit an absolute moonshot into center field that Williams flagged down. It would have hit the fence. It would have been a bases-clearing double. Instead, the Doors go from looking at a 6-1 lead to just a 3-1 lead, and that's too much time for Cotuit to come back. The MVP puts them over the top with a go-ahead home run. This Cotuit team is just too darn good when you leave them room.
Cotuit scores 5 runs on 7 hits, no errors. Falmouth 3 runs all in the first inning, 7 hits of their own, and no errors. Gonzalez gets a quality start in his playoff appearance. 5 innings of work, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Logan Hoffman gives up 2 bombs. Cotuit takes a 5-3 lead that they do not surrender. Danny, I want to talk about this season as a whole. What a ride it was. A rocky June with a lot of rainouts, a red-hot July. And this team's season was one to remember.
No team was as dominant in my memory as the Falmouth Commodores in the month of July. I mean, a lot of those games were really close. They weren't blowing out teams 12-0 or anything like that, but just the consistently solid baseball they were playing, limiting errors, great starting pitching, great situational hitting was a sight to see. Part of the reason why they won 11 in a row in the month of July. Part of the reason why they had the best darn record on the Cape. Heading into the playoffs, really thought this team could make some magic happen. Been 39 years since the town of Falmouth has seen a championship. Been 21 years for Coach Jeff Trundy without one at all. They're going to have to wait for 40 and 22 respectively, because sometimes, as hot as you are, as great as you are during the regular season, you're going to run into a team that is just playing unreal baseball, and Cotuit was just a little bit better than Wareham and a little bit better than Falmouth. I would not want to see this Cotuit team if I were anybody out of the East. That's what Falmouth ran into, and it's the unfortunate thing.
How about that 11-game winning streak? That was maybe the most fun 2 weeks I've had in 2 summers. Unbelievable pitching.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun to watch those 11 games where the pitching was solid. The bullpen was great behind it. Some of these arms we got to see out of the bullpen were brilliant. Zach Brixey cemented himself as one of the best relievers, best closers in the country. You know, not many teams even could pronounce his name right, and everybody's going to be remembering the name after the summer he was able to put up. Zach Deloach, watching him win the batting title, so well-deserved for such a great guy, coming off of a tough spring at A&M, but he is going to be a first-round pick as long as he keeps this up, because he was unbelievable, and it's those guys that stand out, but it's really this entire team on that whole 11-game winning streak, this entire team throughout the entire season, guys who came and went, who weren't able to be here for the final couple games in the playoffs, but everybody sticks out. This was a really special season for Falmouth. Felt like they were going to finally get over the hump. Fans were saying it, you know, coaching was saying it, players were saying it, but it just, you know what, that's baseball.
That is baseball, and now it's time for the most important part, the thank yous to every player that we've had the privilege of covering, to all the coaches, Jeff Trundy, Mike Landry, Brett Becker, and Ryan Eiley. Couldn't have asked for a better team to work with. Danny, I know you feel the same. The amount of parents who've come up to us when they've come out to Cape Cod and thanked us for our work, it's gratifying, and we thank you all for listening this summer, for following this team and for following us so closely. We hope that we don't lose touch. We know that this team will always have this bond, media members and players alike. A few that come to mind: Troy Clonch's parents, his father, stepmother, and mother, who we've met this summer. Tyler Ross's parents, who were great. Even some of the temporary players who were cut were awesome to work with. Ben Kasperius, Tommy Sheehan. The list goes on and on. Danny, I know you feel the same.
Yeah, if you've come up to us at a Falmouth game or on the road just up here in Cape Cod, thank you so much for telling us thank you and appreciating what we do. It's not easy foregoing your summer and following this team around and working 12-hour days, but it's entirely worth it because of the memories we're able to make, the friendships we're able to make. I never strapped up a Falmouth Commodores uniform in my 2 summers here, and I feel like I'm part of this team.
Yeah.
They were so welcoming. They were so generous to us. They were so friendly to us, every one of those guys. I feel indebted to them. And, thank you to everyone who followed along throughout the summers. These past 2 years have been the best of my life, and I appreciate everything the Falmouth Commodores have been able to offer me. Thank you to Rob Kaufman for bringing us together, for bringing this team together. Thank you, David, for being a great broadcast partner. And tough to say goodbye, but you know what? Wouldn't trade it for the world.
A few more that came to mind: Zach Brixey's family, the Deloach clan, who came all the way from Texas. Mark Worster, Caleb Worster's father, and the rest of his family. These 2 summers, as my partner said, mean the world, and can't thank you guys enough for following along. Please be sure to stay in touch with us at ofcourse, OFKORZ, ZZZ, 4 Z's. At Dan R. LaRose for my broadcast partner and the rest of our media team. I'm sure if you poke around any one of our Twitter pages, you'll find the rest of us pretty easily. At Fal Commodores on Twitter and Instagram. It's going to be fun to watch this team going forward and look back on it as alums. So for one final time, for my producer, Max Trink, my sideline reporter, Katie Florio, the rest of our outstanding media team, and Haley Blitch, our social media manager, Megan Murphy, our photographer, Severin Lavenstein, our videographer, our head media intern, coordinator, and boss, Rob Kaufman, Deb Brocklebank, Kathy Ewell, to this coaching staff and the rest of the Falmouth Commodores organization, and to my partner in crime for 2 summers, Danny LaRose. I'm David Korzenowski saying so long and best of luck. Go Doors.